You guys, just out of curiosity, please leave your likes and comments below. How many times have I brought up Can't Buy Me Love in this podcast? Is this like the 17th time? It's one of your faves. I fucking love it. It is my favorite. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best. Hello.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going. My house is still torn up, and a plumber was supposed to come to like saw off all of our not to code plumbing connections in that bathroom. But he didn't make it in time before the podcast, so I was like, maybe we shouldn't have sawing throughout the podcast. So he's gonna come later.
I don't know. I feel like we've had it before.
I feel like this would
be the difference. What's happening?
Maybe more direct sawing and I also felt like, what if he had questions and I'm here alone? Then it becomes like a, Casey St. Ange's plumber is doing his best.
Yeah. An informational podcast.
Yeah. So he's postponed. But yeah, other than that, it's fine. I'm actually proud of us for getting a plumber and not being like, let's just get a blowtorch and try to like cut these off ourselves, Like that's the kind of thing that we would do and then, regret 15 minutes into it once something was burning.
Yeah, I get it. Although you can learn a lot from YouTube. Is all I'm going to say.
100%.
Although, as my grandfather was very high up in the plumbers and pipe fitters union, I also have to say plumbers and pipe fitters are skilled professionals and you can't learn that on YouTube.
They're artists, and what is so funny is that like I have such a deep respect for any plumber. But what is also funny to me in my experience, they're a lot like hairdressers in that whenever they take a look at your plumbing, they're like, who the fuck did this?
Oh, I know.
Like how hairdressers, I was like, who cut your hair last? And
like if you go to a different doctor.
Yeah.
Who's like my ENT, who I love in New York, who then looked at my sinuses and was like, oh, who did this surgery? And I was like, you know what? Calm down.
Yes. Well, it's moments like that when you realize this is an art. It's a skill, yes, but it's an art. And also like a lot of things are a matter of opinion. And those opinions don't always match. Often they don't match at all. And, you just have to go with your gut, like which
is why we're firm believers in second and third opinions, even, by the way, with plumbing.
Even with plumbing, yeah. But I'm proud of us that we're at an age now where we'll watch a YouTube video. Like when we were younger, we would be underconfident until one day, like in our first apartment that we owned in Brooklyn, we were just trying to put up like some shelf brackets and like shelves to put our huge book collection on this really long wall. And we were so nervous to like drill into the wall. Just to put up these shelf brackets, like the simplest DIY. And then finally I was just like, we own this place. We can like knock the fucking whole wall down if we want. Like we're not going to get in trouble, I mean.
You might have.
Yeah.
I'm not, it was like,
But we weren't going to get like reprimanded or grounded. We were adults and we owned our place. And so I'm proud that we've gone from that underconfident to like, I think there was a point where we got a little cocky and overconfident. And now I think we're right at the level where we're
sweet spot. This is a sweet spot.
We'll watch the YouTube video and then determine if it's something that's within our skill set. If not, let's get a professional.
This is you're in what they call, I believe,
the sweet spot.
The sweet spot.
How are you? I know a little bit of how you are, but I want to hear.
Oh, boy. Well, welcome to the new moon in Cancer, everybody. How's it going? There are nodes that are changing signs. There are retrogrades afoot. There are planetary things happening. And your girl has just taken it all on. The full force of the planets and astrology. So last week, several things have been afoot. So last week, left Los Angeles. The plan was that I was to take fly Gina back to New York And then the next day I was going to go upstate, visit with a friend, drop Gina off at her summer camp babysitter that she loves, go back to the city at some, that weekend, whatever, and then come down to South Carolina where Mark flew with the kids and join them because this is like, before Bird goes to school. Birdie wanted to come back to South Carolina and we'd love it here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but then I talk about this a little bit later in the podcast with our interview with Samantha Bee, which is a great interview, guys. And we are very lucky to have her, but we already have done it. Full disclosure. Birdie's departure for Sweden is looming because it's
the middle of July.
Oh my God. Wait. Almost exactly 1 month from today.
Wow.
Oh, I mean, when you listen to this on the night, it's 1 month from today. We will have dropped Birdie off at school and left her there. And I will say emotions are high in the house across the board.
Yeah.
Emotions are high between me and Mark Silverstein.
Oh gosh, I can imagine.
Mostly me toward Mark Silverstein.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say he's definitely has a lot of anxiety that's presenting in ways that it presents for him.
Yeah.
And so anyway, right the day before we were all to leave Los Angeles, Birdie was like, I can't leave you, Mom. I have to come with you. And Gina, I can't leave you.
Aww.
And I had said that 4 days earlier to Mark. I'd had a conversation with him where I was like, I have a feeling maybe Birdie should come with me back to New York and you can take Cricket to South Carolina. And then Birdie and I'll go upstate and then we'll come and join you guys. And he was very not into that idea.
Yeah.
And I sort of just let it go because I also was just, I don't know. Because also I don't know. I don't know.
Right. You're just guessing.
And then, but Birdie was really melting down about it. And, and parents, we all, it's like you get into this thing where you're like, but then if I give over to this thing in this moment, is that just reinforcing that a freak out will lead to the thing that the kid wants? Do we need them to push through it? Blah, da, 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 da. But I just was my gut was no, I don't really need Birdie to push through it. If she's feeling like she really needs to be with me right now in this moment, that's cool because I feel like that too.
Right.
So anyway, it caused a little bit of stress, but we made the call. And so Birdie and Gina and I headed back to New York. Our flight was very delayed leaving Los Angeles to come to New York. Gina was a real champion dog. I have to say, she is a good girl. And for people who are curious, I will let you know this. She was procured as an emotional support dog. And she went to a trainer who did all this training with her. We sent her away for 4 weeks or something during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So she could be trained so that she could be an emotional support dog. And then that's why she is allowed to fly with us. Not that it's anyone's business. By the way, just FYI, if you ever see a dog on an airplane, it's none of your business. Why the people have the dog on the airplane. But if you're curious because you want to be able to get your dog on the airplane, there's training things that they have to go through and to get certified as whatever it is that allows them to get a thing that they can be on board. I do have to say, Gina, this is the first time I've personally flown with Gina.
Gotcha.
Because remember, I said that the trainer had been in New York and then flew her out there. And that I had been very lucky because in the past, the trainer and her husband, who's also a trainer, they're like very bi-coastal.
Yeah.
And so we've like worked around their schedule in the past because I just was like flying with kids and stress. And I don't know if I can handle the stress of a dog too, because that makes me nervous.
Right.
But she was so good. It was the cutest thing. And that poor girl didn't pee for like 9 hours because of the delays of the flight. It was, and for people who are like, why didn't you have like one of those pads with you? I don't know. Cause I should have, I guess I should have maybe in the future. I didn't think that literally the plane would be delayed for hours and hours. Also, Gina's never peed on a pad.
Yeah, she probably wouldn't have peed on it because she doesn't do that.
No. But she was really good. I mean, didn't make a peep the whole time. She was sweet. She slept with Birdie. As is part of her job as an emotional support dog. Anyway, we got back to New York and I was really excited. Oh, but literally while we were on the plane, my friend who we were going to see upstate was like, one of her kids had been very exposed to COVID.
Oh, no.
And so she was like, I mean, the kid seems okay. Up to you. And I was like, don't make me do this. And I was like, I can't. I'm like, okay. So that plan changed, right? Like, I'm like, I'm not, especially with Birdie going to school so soon. I don't want to spend like our last few weeks with the entire family going through it. You know what I mean?
Right. Of course.
Like being sick or like having COVID, like go through our whole family.
Yeah. Or worrying that you will.
Right. And then plus like we were going on vacation. So anyway, so that plan changed immediately. And so then I was like, well, that's exciting because I'll get to go into my ceramic studio in New York tomorrow. By the time we landed, I was like so exhausted. It was like just totally insane. And so Gina's camp upstate, I was like, there's no way I can drive upstate tomorrow. I'm like beat. I'm beat emotionally, physically, like, just flying, it takes a lot out of you. So then the next day I was like excited to go to ceramics in the morning. Birdie's asleep. Full teenage vibes, also on the West Coast time still. Birdie was asleep. I went to my ceramic studio and like all of my ceramics from last month were finished. All of them. And they all were so cute and beautiful. And I was so excited. And I did the thing that I like fully knew I shouldn't do, but it was just that I knew that I was going to be leaving town. So I was like, I'm just going to take it all now. And I had like one box to put some stuff in, but then I didn't have a box that was big. Anyway, I had a bag. It was too much stuff.
Right.
I was carrying too much stuff. It was 1,000,001 degrees out. I was walking in very crowded with tourists streets in the village near my ceramic studio. Here's what happened right before I fell to the earth. Two thoughts crossed my head. I should pause at that table over there and regroup.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't want to do that. It's too hot. And then 2 seconds later, my pottery and I were on the ground.
Aww.
And I fell so hard and so fast. And I'm such a good faller. And as I was going, I was like, motherfucker! Like just screamed as I was falling because I just knew that the pottery was going to go everywhere. And I was like, this is like actually my nightmare. Falling in public is already the worst. I think
Yeah.
we can all agree. Falling, period, is the worst.
But something that you're very used to at this point. Like, you know how to go through the emotions of that.
100%. But falling in public is its own kind of humiliation and insanity. Falling in public whilst carrying pottery that you care way too deeply about that is shaped like flying pigs is its own kind of hell that I don't wish on anyone. And I just laid there on my back looking up like I rolled, like I went down hard on my left side, which is the side I always go down on, just by the way. I had knee surgery on my right side, and I do think my left side, like subconsciously or whatever. And by the way, that knee surgery, I was like, 14.
Yeah.
But I think that my left side always takes over because it's protecting that still. Like, you know what I mean? Your body just does weird shit like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I rolled hard, and then I was just on my back looking up at the sky, and I was like, motherfucker, I can't believe this. And then these people like rushed up to me, and I was like, oh, I have to get up and pretend like I'm okay so that they don't make a bigger deal about it than it needs to be. I don't need like a circle of people showing up, if I laid on the ground. My real desire was to just lie there for like maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
It was like what on the
really
sidewalk?
wanted to do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, you could just lie there. I was thinking about it so much because when you said a bunch of people like ran over to help you, I was just thinking about how that is the best of humanity, but also the worst, because people have instincts when they happen upon a fall victim that really go against emotionally what the faller needs to have happen. Just a couple tips. If you encounter someone who's fallen down, just ask them one time, are you okay? And once they say they're okay, just stand there quietly and like lend them a hand to pull them up or whatever. But don't just keep saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Definitely do not describe to them the fall and wipeout that they just took. Like, you don't need to be
and
like,
how bad it looked.
And how bad it was. Oh my God, I was walking down the street. Oh my God, oh my God. And then I saw you tripped and you dropped everything and it broke. And then I was like, is she dead?
Something. It's amazing to me. This guy and girl, there were a few people, but this couple, they handled it so fucking great for the first time ever. Like exactly like all of the things that you just said. Like they came over and he was like, are you okay? And I was like, yes, I'm fine. I'm so mad. And he's like, oh man, I saw that sucks. I'd be really pissed. I'm glad you're okay. And I was like,
there
okay.
You go. That's it.
That was nice. They kind of helped me up. I think they helped me gather the shards. Collect the shards. Of pottery.
The metaphorical and literal shards.
As blood starts running down my leg, it's really hard to convince people that you're okay when you're like bleeding.
Yeah.
Which is, I also was like fairly close to home.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to get the fuck home. Wildly, as soon as I got up, gathered the shit up, started trying to not limp home. My phone rang and it was Mark, psychic. And I was like, hello? And he's like, you're never going to believe what just happened. And I was like, oh my God, you're never going to believe what just happened to me. Wait. And then I was like, wait, was yours good or bad? And he's like, bad. And I was like, oh my God, something terrible happened to me too. And he's like, well, mine wasn't terrible. And I was like, okay, you go first. And he's like, the golf cart wasn't charged and it died.
You're like, that's normal.
I was like, yeah, we're not going to do this today. And then I told him what happened. And he's like, oh my God, Busy, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? I was like, I'm fine. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I'm fine. It's just stuff. It's fine. Whatever. And And I am not, like, I could tell I wasn't like broken in any place, you know? So then I got home. I made some Instagram stories that were slightly hysterical and a little unhinged. You texted me almost immediately, which was impressive. I had a couple other friends who like immediately were like, oh no, are you okay? And then, as I've done since I was a teenager, guys, I took a selfie in my darkest hour. You know, I used to do that all the time with like my disposable cameras and my like little instant. Oh yeah. I've been taking selfies of myself. Selfies of myself. That's the name of my book. I'm going to write it down. Selfies of myself. Maybe that's my one woman show.
Yes.
Guys, later in the show, we talked to Samantha Bee about her one woman show, which I'm fucking excited to see. I cannot wait. Anyway. And then I assessed the damage. I will say I was so glad that my little owl survived.
Yes.
It totally intact. And I was so shocked and surprised and grateful that my special tail pot, that is the pot that I made for my friend Kate, that's all just tails per her request, because she thought the tails were really funny. That's an incredibly fragile pot.
Of course. Yeah.
And it has really thin walls too. And it totally survived. And then this little cup, this tiny little cup that I made for Cricket that she had requested for juice, also survived. So I felt like there were some big losses.
Yeah.
But I was like thrilled with the things that survived. And then everybody was so nice in all of the comments on the Instagram post. And everybody was, suggesting kintsugi. That's how you say it, right? Kintsugi?
I think so. Yeah. Kintsugi. The Japanese art of repairing things in a beautiful way, usually with gold.
Thus giving it new life. And making something beautiful in its damage.
Yes.
So many people suggested it. And once I like sort of assessed the breaks, I realized that I actually think that will be cool to do. So I ordered a kit from Japan.
Oh, nice.
That'll be coming at some point. And I'm going to try to work it out and put some pig wings back together and some pigs back together, some pottery back together.
That's great. I think hearing what survived is like a metaphor too. Like the important things survived for your people. The thing that was meaningful to you personally, like an owl, I feel like is your animal that you feel a connection with. And then the juice cup for Cricket, like her asking for something is meaningful. And then the pot for your friend, she asked for it. And then everything else, not as important. Important, but still not as important as those three things.
So structurally impressive, though, I do want to say.
Yeah.
That they survived all of it and then only to be thrown to the ground. In a wild way, because I was carrying too much, because I wasn't listening to myself.
And you weren't listening to yourself. And
which was, you know what myself said? To take a break. And you know what myself didn't do? I didn't take a break. And you know what myself did? Threw myself to the ground.
Girl, you talked about this a long time ago on this podcast about slowing down. When you fell down.
When I fell down the stairs. I know.
Here's what I'll say. You don't have to listen to everybody, but you got to listen to yourself.
For real.
You got to listen to her. She's a smart lady. She knows you better than anyone. And when she bothers to pipe up in the background, you got to listen to her.
I know.
Here's what myself is telling you. I want to send you this thing that we sent. Somehow I think Eli sent her one and I sent her one because my mom asked for like a folding wagon, like a little wagon. And we both sent her one Christmas without consulting each other, because that was like the thing that she wanted to like go, tootle around in her neighborhood. Because she lived in a weirdly like urban, not urban, but like she lived on Main Street, so she could like go to the grocery, whatever. And so she just wanted it to be able to like get her groceries and like scoot them up into her condo or whatever. And they came in so handy. I was so grateful that we had overlapped and gotten her two, even though she probably should have just immediately sent one back for a refund. But that was not my mom. That was not her journey. But I was so grateful when we were going to clean out her place that we had both of those wagons, and they're really useful. And I think I'm going to get you one and send you one, because you shouldn't just be trying to hoist things down the street.
No, I really shouldn't. Although the thought of me with a wagon is also kind of
put a box over your head. You guys will get that later.
You guys are gonna want to pay attention to that one, because it's gonna come back. When you hear it, you're gonna know. You're gonna love it. Anyway, so you survived that. I need something. I definitely need something. And I also need to take my own advice, and I need to remember my own advice, and I need to like listen to myself, and all the things that, like, again, it is very clear to me that, like, if the universe and if my inner person feels ignored, it's just going to throw me to the fucking ground. And I need to, like, actually just at this moment in life, take the note. We are moving into a whole new place. It's a whole new era. And it's enough. It's enough of the same old fucking shit. I can't do it anymore. It's not for her.
I get it though. Because sometimes you just want to fucking do what you want to do. You want to just carry a box down the street and get from point A to point B. That's been a little of my journey with like Ehlers-Danlos, is like, I went through a huge portion of my life, like hurting myself mysteriously, accidentally hurting myself in so many ways, and just thinking like I'm clumsy or I'm fragile or whatever. And the truth is, I was fragile. That's why I was hurting myself. But I always thought like I'm just trying to do like this normal thing, and then my like leg falls off or whatever. It's like you feel literally like a broken doll, and you just like want to do what you want to do. And still now, like my family is so attuned to it that like if I'm trying to like reach up high to like get a teacup or something, one of them will usually rush over and get a teacup for me, which is so nice and so wonderful. But also like sometimes I just want to get a teacup, or sometimes like I'm alone and I want to get a teacup, and then I'm like climbing up on the counter to reach something I'm not tall enough to reach. And sometimes you just want to do the fucking things that you want to do. And the whole time I'm telling you to listen to yourself, like I'm not ignoring my whole self the whole time. I'm like, you shouldn't climb up on this counter. This is, a real roll of the dice.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I also, have Ehlers-Danlos. And like, I do wonder what piece of that has to do with my falling to the ground, other than like messages from the universe and myself. You know what I mean?
It's physical. And then also like people are discovering, I think more and more people are feeling like there's a connection between Ehlers-Danlos and other conditions like that and neurodivergence. And
no shit.
Right. And so a lot of a symptom of a lot of neurodivergent diagnoses are lack of physical coordination and falling.
Yeah.
So we're all just a bunch of fucking Lizzie McGuires out here.
I mean, ain't that the truth? By the way, speaking of which, Cricket has been watching a new movie every night that she hasn't seen. And we were just going over them this morning. I was catching up. Oh, because I got to South Carolina finally after my kerfuffle yesterday, which almost brought me to my knees again.
Oh, God.
But like for real, when I got out of the car at Newark,
oh my God,
at 5:55 a.m. with Birdie in tow, who had just gone to sleep, by the way, at 4:30 a.m.
Oh, shoot.
And then I woke Birdie up. Anyway, and I realized our flight was out of LaGuardia, not Newark, which is in a different state.
Right.
And also no way during morning commute rush hour were we making it to LaGuardia for our flight.
Right.
And Birdie lost her shit. I lost my shit. Everybody lost their shit. Our cab driver guy was like, I can't take you to LaGuardia. I can't drive anymore. I'm exhausted. I've been doing this all night. Which, by the way, he literally nodded off while he was driving us to Newark.
Oh my God.
It was like the whole thing was like insane.
Yeah.
Like, my day yesterday was insanity on top of insanity. Like truly wild.
Oh my God.
And then all the flights were sold out. Because,
of course, because of all
they
the
had all
cancellations.
been, yes, because they'd all been canceled the day before. And then we got a flight for 9 p.m. last night. Gina went to daycare, by the way, or camp, upstate camp, by the way, and she's living her best life. She's so thrilled.
Good for her.
I just want you to know. I gave her flea and tick medicine down her back. Then I put a little flea and tick collar on her, and I sent her on her
off
way
to camp
with her little sleeping bag rolled under her paw, her favorite toy, and some food. And she was like, her little baseball hat on her head. She was like, "So long, Mom." Anyway, but yeah, yesterday was so insane. And so then we went back to the airport. Newark was the flight that we were able to get at 9 p.m. last night, was out of Newark. And then like on the way to the airport, a notice popped up. Your flight's going to be delayed due to crew. We're waiting for a crew to come in from an inbound flight. So the plane was there.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell us like what the inbound flight, the crew was coming from, whatever. So they had delayed it technically like 30 minutes. But we didn't get on the plane. I mean, we didn't get on the plane until the plane was supposed to take off at 9:15 or 9:20 was the 9:20 was the original time. We didn't even get on the plane until like almost 10.
Ugh.
And then we're just like sitting there. I started reading a book, which is fascinating. Like, cause I haven't been able to read recently.
Right. You were saying.
But I know, but I finally started to read. So I started reading this book and I was like kind of not paying attention. And then I was like, what's going on? And then the pilot makes an announcement. We're number 12 in line for takeoff.
Oh my God.
It's 10:45. He makes that announcement at 10:45. We'd been on the tarmac anyway, needless to say, it was a journey, but it was fine.
Yeah.
Aside from some like stuff with Birdie that was deeply unpleasant and challenging. It is what it is.
You got through it.
I got through it. Here we are. Oh, I picketed yesterday though. That was good.
You picketed?
Well, because I took another Uber back to the city because I was just like, I couldn't get on. All the flights were sold. I was like, how is this possible? They're all gone? Like, what?
Right.
I didn't understand that they had all been canceled the day before. So then I got home, actually went back to sleep.
Good.
I mean, it was like I was home by like 7:30
Right.
a.m.
Of course. Easy to get back home.
Yeah. So yeah, Birdie went to sleep. I went back to bed. Oh, I got to go to my physical therapist on Sunday. That was really good.
Oh, good. Okay.
So she put me back in a lot of alignment that was out of alignment from the fall.
From the fall. That's good. And then you picketed.
And then I picketed by myself because Jen couldn't come with. And I forgot that Janie was in town still.
Right.
And she was picketing, but I didn't even remember until after. So
That's
I went to the wrong
Janie
place.
had Tompkins.
You guys, you know Janie. She's been on the show.
Janie. You know her podcast with her husband, Paul F. Tompkins. You know her Substack, Weekend Water.
Yeah. You guys know it all. Anyway, I fully missed that opportunity to pick it with friends. But you know what? It was totally fine and nice to go make some friends in the line.
Yeah.
And meet new people and hear other people's stories and what their vibes are and why they're there and all the things. And also, Jose Andreas's restaurant that's right there, like showed up with just like a ton of food. And Jose Andreas's brother,
he has a brother
who's also a chef.
Is he single?
I'm gonna look it up right now. He looks. I thought it was Jose Andreas, and I said something to him, and he's like,
I love him.
I am, and I'm not going to do the accent, guys, because but I would do the accent because I do love how Jose Andreas talks.
Yes,
but the brother who talks exactly like him said, "I am not Jose Andreas. I am his brother." And he showed me his little name tag. Because all I could see was Andreas. And I was like, oh my God. By the way, they look so much alike.
I love it. They can do like a Gallagher thing. You know how Gallagher, the comedian that smashed fruit with a sledgehammer?
Do I know Gallagher? My parents took me to the Gallagher tour.
Well, did you see Gallagher or did you see his brother Gallagher too? Who looked so much like him. That he also toured smashing fruit with sledgehammers. But I think that ended in a legal battle. So hopefully Jose and his brother don't go that route.
No, I think that they're very friends. I think that they seemed, they're obviously friends.
Oh, I love that.
Wait, why can't I find about his brother now? I had looked it up before. Did I hallucinate this? Did I make this all up? No.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yes. From Mercado Little Spain. They showed up because it was we were right by Hudson Yards.
That's so sweet. I love that.
Yeah.
Do you know, you probably know this, but for the listeners at home, throughout the writer's strike, Drew Carey has been paying for lunch at, I think, a couple restaurants. Like a lot of restaurants are offering a discount if you have a WGA card. Drew Carey is flat out covering the check at a couple restaurants if writers go in and show their WGA card. And I think somebody at like Bob's Big Boy in Burbank or something, and somebody was saying that his bill alone at Bob's Big Boy is like $100,000 a week.
Jesus. That's impressive.
I know. I haven't taken advantage of it because I don't know. I just haven't. But if I ever do Drew Carey, I just want you to know that I'm going to order something reasonable off the menu.
Get the lobster. I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh. So you picketed and then you were saying something. This was all a thread that we went down because you were saying that Cricket's been watching a movie every day.
Oh, Lizzie McGuire.
Anyway, I said we're a couple Lizzie McGuires because we're always falling down.
Apparently, Cricket watched the Lizzie McGuire movie last night before I got in at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And then this morning was recounting it to me and was like, it's really upsetting though. Like, she's just like traveling in Europe by herself. She's in 8th grade. and then she meets a 17-year-old boy. It's very inappropriate. And I was like, yeah, that sounds really inappropriate. And also how wild that was like fully a Disney movie like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, it just goes to show you guys that things have changed.
I guess there was a time when these channels or like programming in general was really catering to like a fantasy.
2003, 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago was catering to like what would be an 8th grade girl's fantasy without giving much thought to like, yeah, but that's because like people in 8th grade are stupid and their fantasies are like dangerous and inappropriate probably, and we probably shouldn't make a movie about it. I don't know. I've had that. I told you about Revenge of the Nerds, right? about Lincoln asking, could he watch Revenge of the Nerds?
Oh my goodness.
Lincoln asked, and like Revenge of the Nerds, when you say that to me, I'm like, classic movie, comedy. Lincoln loves comedy. When he was like 13 years old, he was staying with my mom on Cape Cod, and he texted me, Grammy's asleep. I'm going to watch a movie. Is it okay if I watch Revenge of the Nerds? And I was at work, and I was like, yeah, go ahead. Well, a couple hours goes by, and my phone starts blowing up with texts, and he's like, I am sick to my stomach. I cannot believe this. Why did you let me watch that? And I was like, what happened? Like, what? And he was like, the punchline of the movie is a rape. He was like,
true. I've never seen Revenge of the Nerds. I don't know what it is.
Revenge of the Nerds is like the lead nerd character. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, the lead nerd character has like a cool girl that he likes that is like the girlfriend of a jock boyfriend. And then there's some event where people are wearing costumes, and somehow the nerd guy puts on the Darth Vader costume, I think, that the cool guy was wearing, and ends up having sex while wearing the costume with this girl, this cool girl. But like Lincoln's 13-year-old point was like, she thought he was someone else. He raped her.
Yeah, it wasn't consensual.
Yeah.
Of course.
And I was
obviously that's the correct way to view that.
Yes. And I was like, oh my God, that just like points out like how I never even thought of that. And he was like, he had a couple questions. He was like, were there a lot of movies like this back then? And
I
my
actually
answer
think there
was,
were.
Yeah, probably. And he was like, and were you allowed to see this when you were my age? And I was like, yes, the answer is also
100%.
Yes.
Wow.
And that was a real fucking eye-opener. So it doesn't, I mean, I guess we'd come a little ways by the time Lizzie McGuire was made, but yeah, probably not great to...
Well, I think we've come a lot further, because even 10-year-old Cricket watching it was like, I did not care for the fact that she was traveling alone in Europe.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, she was traveling alone? She was like, well, she was like, starts on this school trip, but then she just like ditches out. And was just like on her own, pretending she's a pop star. And I was like, what? And then she's like, and then she says the thing about the 17-year-old boy who turns out to be the villain. And I was like, no shit. But Cricket was like, it's so inappropriate.
Oh my gosh. I've never seen it.
17-year-old boy and a kid and a eighth girl who just graduated 8th grade.
Wow.
Like, yeah, that is really inappropriate, Cricket. You're right. I'm glad you recognize that.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad she does.
It is interesting though. I mean, like that Revenge of the Nerds thing really sort of encapsulates just how, you know, everywhere rape culture has been culturally, like how inundated we all were with it, especially people our generation, growing up with the messaging of like also that it's okay because he's the hero of the movie. The nerd is the
guy, and she would like it. She would like it if he's
the good guy
was
and
tricked into giving him a chance.
It's so fucked.
It's so fucked.
You know what I think does kind of hold up though?
What?
I kind of think Can't Buy Me Love holds up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because she like calls him out on his fucking shit. And then his friends call him out on his shit. And then he has to like come to terms with that he's like become a pretty gross person.
Yeah.
And that like the whole conceit of it was gross.
Interesting.
But that also he was right. Like his whole idea was that dating the most popular girl in school, even though it was going to be pretend.
Right.
Paying the most popular girl at school to date him was going to change his life and make him popular. And it did.
It did.
Like, because all the kids then like worshipped him.
Right.
And he was like dating anyone he wanted and was like, but then he was like turned into a really gross, horrible person.
Jerk.
That was mean to all of his closest, bestest friends.
Right.
And he had a real relationship with, I can't remember her name. What is her name? It's Ronnie. And Cindy Mancini. How could I forget that?
Cindy Mancini.
You guys, just out of curiosity, please leave your likes and comments below. How many times have I brought up Can't Buy Me Love in this podcast? Is this like the 17th time? I fucking love it. It is my favorite. I'm adding it to Cricket's movie list. So then this morning we made a little list of movies to watch. Anyway, my only point is that I do feel like he has a moral come to Jesus in that movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then he does get to give the big speech at the end with the slow clap. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm here. Jury's out how it's all going to go from the next several weeks. But you know what? I'm taking solace in the fact that it's the new moon and things are I'm shedding some things. I'm going to move forward in a new way.
So you made it to the South.
I made it.
The American South.
To the South. I think that I need a little seaside time to reset. I'm not going to lie. And I'm ready to do it. I already feel like it's going to be a good moment for me to take a break.
Good. That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
It was a long way to get there.
I really enjoyed our guest today. Should we listen to this interview we did?
Yes. And everyone else should listen to it as well.
You really should, because you're gonna that one thing, you're gonna laugh and laugh and laugh. I'm kidding. Now we've oversold it. But you will get it. Guys, so lucky to have Sam Bee.
You know her.
On our podcast today. You know Samantha Bee from places that we can't mention because of the Screen Actors Guild and Writers Guild strike. But mostly because of the Screen Actors Guild strike. The guild's striking. And we'll talk more about that when we come back after our interview with Samantha Bee. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Guys, I've been on these picket lines and it's hot and I'm going to bring some Lumi. I'm not going to lie. You don't want to be the person on the picket line that smells. And Lumi is the best whole body deodorant on the market. It's clinically proven to control odor everywhere. Pits, privates, beyond. For a whopping 72 hours. So an OBGYN developed it. Lumi's founder, Dr. Shannon Klingman, met thousands of women concerned with odor below the belt. And then through clinical testing, she discovered that it wasn't the vagina that was to blame. It was bacteria on the skin. So she created Lumi, a pH-optimized, aluminum-free deodorant that actually works and works everywhere you put it. Over 150,000 five-star reviews to prove it. Guys, I love it because it smells great. I love it because I love the whole body deodorant, because sometimes I get the boob sweat that I'm like, ugh, that doesn't smell great in my sports bra. And since I got Lumi and I just do a little in the cleaves under my boobs, really works out well for me and my armpits. I don't know about you, but there's been a heat wave going on. I'm out there in those picket lines, guys. I'm telling you. Lumi's been my best friend, especially because I like the lavender scent. It's the best. It's aluminum free. It's baking soda free. It's paraben free. You know, we're allergic to parabens in this family. And it's pH balanced for safe use. You can put it right on that vagines. Put it anywhere you need. So here's the deal. The Lumi starter pack is perfect for you if you're trying it out, if you're a new customer, because it comes with the solid stick deodorant, a cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice. I did the mini body wash and the deodorant wipes, which are very good if you have teenagers or preteens, just FYI. And also free shipping. So as a special offer to our listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code BEST at LumiDeodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit LumiDeodorant.com and use code BEST. Oh, wow, guys. Guys. Remember when I said that we're eating and drinking roughly a credit card's worth of plastic in a week? That is very disturbing. Disturbing because the products that we use every single day are ultimately contaminating our water supply, whether or not you think you're recycling them. Here's the deal. Chances are you're actually generating hundreds of microplastics that we end up ingesting. So Blue Land set out to do something about it. Blue Land set out to eliminate the need for single-use plastic in the products that we need and use the most for cleaning. Hand soap, glass cleaner, multi-surface cleaner. Because, there's an estimated 5 billion plastic hand soap and cleaning bottles that are thrown away each year. That's insane. And if that's not insane enough, most cleaning formulas are 90% water, which, by the way, very heavy to ship, but also just comes from your tap for free. Okay. So Blue Land is incredible because they've decided to eliminate single-use plastic, reinvent cleaning essentials to be better for you and for the planet, and work incredibly well. So they offer these endlessly refillable cleaning products. There's a beautiful cohesive design. It looks great on your counter. It's very simple. They're glass bottles. You fill your bottles with water. You drop in a tablet and you wait for them to dissolve. And then you never have to lug bulky cleaning supplies home from the grocery store or from the market. Guys, it's been a game changer, especially since I moved to New York. Refills start at just $2.25. And you can set up a subscription or you can buy in bulk. You can try their Clean Essentials kit. It has everything you need to get started. It comes with 3 of the glass bottles for cleaner, plus a bottle for hand soap. And they're beautiful light scents, which, I'm not a person that can deal with heavy scents, but the light scents are so nice. Iris agave, fresh lemon, eucalyptus mint. Anyway, I love Blue Land so much. It has changed the way that I clean and the way that I feel about cleaning, and that I feel good about it. And Blue Land has an offer just for you, for our beautiful listeners. Get 15% off your first purchase of any product. And to get 15% off your first order, just go to blueland.com/best. You do not want to miss this. blueland.com/best. That's blueland.com/best. I love Blue Land, and you will too.
Here we go. It's got it. Can you hear me okay? I don't know my setup.
Yeah, you sound just like Samantha Bee.
Oh my God. I don't know if that's that good. Is that good or bad? I don't know.
For me, it's good.
Okay.
I think it's great. I think not only is it great,
Thank you.
it's distinct.
Oh.
You have a voice where, if I heard you on a car commercial, I would take 3.5 seconds and I'd be like, wait, who is that? Oh, it's
God.
Samantha Bee.
Oh my God. Are you serious? Oh,
Yeah, for real.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's neat.
Mm-hmm.
I find that neat. Thank you. Thank you for saying
But there
that.
are only a few people, I feel like, that you can recognize immediately.
There was someone recently, I felt like I recognized a Jennifer Garner recently. I was like, it's Jennifer Garner, which feels random.
I get very excited whenever I recognize someone's voice on a commercial.
I know her. We met at the party.
And then I immediately am like, do they need more money?
What's going on?
When
Big
my
tax
kids-
bill?
When my kids were little, they were super huge Star Wars fans. And then there was a commercial where James Earl Jones was there, doing the commercial. And they got so excited. And I was like, oh, do you know that voice? Do you know who that is? And my son was like, yes, it's my grandfather.
That's so funny.
And I was like, he doesn't look or sound anything like your grandfather, but okay.
Okay.
We love
That's
him.
beautiful. We love him. We love him.
Hi, Sam.
It's nice to see you, Sam.
It's really nice to see you. Oh my God. Look at you both look so cute in your screens. I love it.
This is what we do now, I guess. This is we're screen reunions.
Screen reunions. I like it. I'm into it.
too. Me too. Well, the last time I saw you, we can't talk about it, I guess, because we're.
Oh, that's right. We can't, but it was fun and I was bad at it.
This is our first interview post SAG strike. So Hollywood break for everybody listening at home. There are a great many things that we can't talk about.
So many things that we can't talk about.
We can't talk about any thing that is a union performing job that's happening in the future, and which
Present,
there's not really,
or in the
present or past.
That's right. We can't mention past. We can't mention anything by name, even if it doesn't exist anymore. Like, I'm actually trying to figure out the rules as we go.
Well, it's interesting because I was on the line yesterday, guys.
Oh, okay.
After I made the mistake of going to the wrong airport at 5:30 in the morning, missing the flight that I had with my teenager, causing her to have an immense breakdown. All the rest of the flights for the day were sold out because they had all been canceled the day before. And I was like, well, looks like I have a whole day on my hands. I'm going to go pick it by myself. But I ended up talking to one of the negotiating captains from New York, which was very exciting.
Okay.
And I asked her some questions about what was allowed and not, because I told her I was doing my podcast the next day. And she was like, well, wow, we've all really been talking about that.
Oh.
And I was like, and the answer is, and she's like, yes, we don't know exactly. We're trying to sort through that. And I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. So we just all take, if I think it's fine if we just all take the position which you've articulated, which is mention nothing.
We're just not mentioning jobs.
Don't mention the industry in which we have worked for decades.
You know what I think is interesting?
What?
Mm-hmm.
When I went to that Hoffman therapy retreat thing, you know, you're not allowed to talk about work at all. That's one of the
interesting
tenets that you cannot tell people what you do, and you are not allowed to talk about your job. I mean, just because, and I think it's right. I think that we put so much into our jobs, especially in our culture.
Right.
It becomes an extension of our personalities, when in fact, it's not at all. Like when you break it down, it's just what we do.
Right.
Yes. For artists, it's complicated.
I feel like it might actually, what might occur then, I mean, not that, because of course I listen to your podcast and conversation blossoms regardless, but like it might actually like bloom conversations in other places where it wouldn't organically do so. It's like when you can't talk about, when you're limited to not talking about the thing that connects all of you, maybe it just takes it like it fucking blooms a gorgeous pod, a beautiful seed pod of something.
It's possible, or we're gonna turn into like a Howard Stern vibe and just ask about sex.
That's fine too.
How is your sex life going, Samantha? Could you imagine?
Have been together forever. Do you guys still bond?
So long. We do. Yeah, we do. No, it's great.
Right? Isn't that's the secret?
You do. You do have to. Each other routinely.
That's and so nice.
I think because we've been, Jason and I started dating in 1997, like in the 90s.
Here, I graduated from high school.
I remember when you started dating Jason.
How? How do you remember that? Wait, you just remember the year?
No, I knew Jason from a long time ago, from like another life. From I knew Jason from something that I can't mention.
We can't talk about. Oh my God. I didn't know that. Or did I know that and I forgot because I have menopause? I mean,
it's possible that we all forgot it. It's possible he doesn't remember, but he worked with some really good friends of mine on something that I can't identify that was short-lived. And then I was going to come in to work on it when the project that I was doing ended, but it didn't last long enough for me to join it. But I had many meetings with Jason and And I loved that you two all got together way back then. Lucky him. That's what I think.
So long ago. But anyways, we still do it. If after all these years, and sometimes, and it's like different, it's like different from when you first like meet someone because you make more, it's just more appointment based.
Yes.
Well,
and you have to make that appointment.
You guys have kids?
We do have 3.
And they're a little older?
A little older. So my oldest
but then you have that. The third is always the wild card. So the third is probably like 6.
She's
You know what I mean?
my oldest is 17 and she's 12. So it's not great. Although she definitely was like, what a surprising dessert. What a wonderful. Oh, what's happened? When was the last time you got your period? I don't know.
Oh, gosh.
You're supposed to have those?
Well, God bless, because I feel like that's a really, like, when kids are little, it's hard to get it in, you know? It's hard because you're busy.
Literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively.
Sometimes it just clamps up, you know? It's a whole new podcast, guys.
But when kids are the age your kids are, Sam, and when kids are the age my kids are, it's difficult because they have an awareness of what you might be sneaking off to do or why you're trying to get them. Although I have to say, my adult sons are seemingly oblivious to when we're like, why don't you go out? Why don't you go to the movies?
Do you guys want to go out for 45 minutes? You can come directly back. It doesn't matter. You just need to stay outside.
Just wherever you go.
Period of time. We can get it done. It's fine. I will say that I know that my children will not listen to this because they're so uninterested in anything I do. And that extends also to sex. They don't seem to have any, like, they don't even have revulsion toward it. I think they just assume it doesn't happen. And why would it? And like,
why would it? You guys are disgusting.
You're disgusting.
Not even people, I think.
No, you're the caterers who live in our home.
You guys, how many people sent you the New York Times article headline, or was it the New Yorker or the New York Times this week, that was being the parent of a teenager is being a human emotional garbage can?
Oh, I didn't read it. I'm going to read it.
9 people sent it to me. Casey, you were one of them? Or I sent them to, or I sent it to you?
Sent it to me, maybe. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I want to give you hope, though, that I think it can get better. I'm not going to guarantee that it will get better because there are plenty of young adults, I think, still putting emotional garbage in their parents. But it can get better.
It's funny how you think, like, I feel like when you have little babies, you think, this is the most work I will ever do. This is the most intense experience of anything. And I'm just like awake all the time and I like changing shitty diapers and I'm doing all this. And then when they evolve and get older, they need you so much differently and so much more, so much more anger.
Yes. And intensity.
Intensity. Like, it's so big all the time. Like, everything's just like an opera. Every day could be a new opera in your life.
And in ways that you're not qualified for.
No, not at all. And you're just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Everybody's mad at me. I know I triggered it. But I don't know how.
Your girls, boys, what are the...
We have two girls, one boy. So we have a boy in the sandwich. He was the meat in the
He's the meat in the sandwich. That's fitting.
Yeah.
Because this is like something we're going to definitely, we haven't done the actual full podcast yet. We're doing the interview first today, Sam. And the one thing that we're definitely going to talk about today is the intensity of my teenager's feelings toward me in this moment as she's getting ready to go to boarding school next month.
Okay.
She does not want to leave my side and she hates me intensely. Like she wants me within spitting distance.
Right.
And she wants
to spit on you.
And she wants to spit on you.
And she wants to tell me that I'm the worst person. And like she's pushing and pulling so hard that I'm just like, I want to be like, girlfriend, this is what you're doing. Just can we just
how are you doing? Are you just, you're just supposed to be like, no, that's
great. I fell in the street this week on Bleecker. I fell on Bleecker. Yeah. I just laid down looking at the sky and I was like, this is right.
Yeah.
Take me.
Oh my God.
You're like my my unnamed friend who claimed that the news made her fall down.
I don't doubt it.
I don't doubt it at all.
I believe it too, but it was the funniest thing anyone said to me in a long time.
I have had I've been on my way to stressful interviews, shoots where you're interviewing someone, and I've fallen also and skinned my knee and ripped my suit pants and bled on the way to. It's definitely, that's heavy. That's really heavy.
Sam, that's right in the lyrics of our theme song. Not a part that's played on the podcast, but the lyrics of our theme song said, I skinned my knee and I ripped my pants chasing after my second chance today.
Okay, Casey, I love that you remember the lyrics. I mean, you wrote them, so.
Some of them. But yeah, I've had that happen. I've also been doused by a slush, a semi going through a slush puddle on the way to an interview, to get a job. And
you're like, it's just like Sex in the City.
Before Sex in the City existed, and I had to just explain myself, why I was a fucking mud monster. I was wearing velour.
Of course you were. Obviously, you were wearing velour.
Obviously, velour just came back into existence for a week in the 90s, and that's when I had it on. And
oh my God,
it's so bad. It's so bad.
There's no dignity at all. Today it started raining. I'm in New York right now, and anyway, I put a cardboard box over my head because it started raining. I was like, "Here's a fucking box," and I walked with a box for blocks. And a taxi cab slowed down. I was like, do you want to get in? I was like, I have a box. I'm fine.
No, thanks. How many things did you walk into?
I did a great job. I kept it. I had my purse. I kept it under the box.
Did you cut eyeballs out of it?
No, I just kind of held it up and peeked under it.
Yeah, I see it. I see the whole thing.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely drenched. Every part of my body was drenched except for my head.
But no one stopped you to ask for pictures or anything, so that's good.
Only the doorman at my building. I was like a crazy stranger walking into the building, and he tried to block the door.
No,
so I was coming up the stairs.
Ma'am, this is not for you.
This is not your home. I was like, it's me.
You know what? Good for him though. That's a good security. I love building security so much. That if I had to say, I think that's the thing I miss about New York the most is security guards at buildings. Every security guard in every building I ever lived or worked in has been such a huge personality. Oh, Busy and I had a meeting and there was a great security guy. He was great. He was just so welcoming. You coming into the building was the best thing that could ever happen. But my last meaningful security guard moment before I left New York was the longtime security guards in the building where I worked. They had come under new management, you know, how some private firm had taken over the building or whatever. And they were trying to talk to their new manager, and I listened into their candid conversation. They were trying to talk to him about how they shouldn't have to wear neckties because it was a security risk. An attacker could grab you by the necktie.
It would be the first thing. That's the first thing I grab for when I'm attacking.
Because mostly it's guys in the financial district.
Yeah, those are the only people I want to attack because I hate them so much.
So hard. Wait, do you find, because you have kids that are in school.
Yes.
You have to, and you're in New York. You guys have been in New York for a long time. Mm-hmm. Do you find it difficult that so many parents work in finance?
I do. Because
I do.
Oh, it's a lot. And I don't. And it's confused. It sounds like really confusing messages to the children, actually, because so at some point, my son is not. He's 15. He's not going into business. He doesn't even have a fucking clue what that is. We're just trust us. You're not cut out for it. And he came home. He was like, you know what I want to do? I want to be a businessman. We were like, this is a terrible idea. Please don't. Because
you could play a businessman.
Play one on TV. It's the only possibility. If you want to do the worst rebellion that's humanly possible to us, then do that job because we don't even know how to communicate. We don't speak the same language.
Maybe he's an Alex P. Keaton.
No, he's not. no, he's the most tender child. It's just like a tender child who's like, I don't know. We watched sorry, I'm just babbling. We watched some YouTube video of like Komodo dragons eating things the other day. And he was like, I turn around and it's like, they're doing their thing. And like in the wild, they're like eating a gazelle or they're just insane creatures.
Yes.
And I turned around and it's like a single teardrop falling down. He's like, you're not going into business. You're not going into business.
But probably so many of his friends' dads are in finance. And
they do these like obscure jobs like on a different planet.
Yeah. Just like evil money stuff.
It's really hard too, because for me, with my kids growing up, so like not so many, practically all of their friends' parents worked in finance and they're always moving away to like Europe or whatever. They'd like finally find a friend and I'd be like rejoicing like, oh, they have a friend that's good enough to have a sleepover with. And then like the next year they move to France or whatever for some stupid job. Irritating.
Like, I feel like there's my kids do have, mostly their friends are like, I'm a public defender. Like their parents are, they just do like real jobs where they like, we're like, I was a lawyer and I fought the mafia.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of them have, those are kind of like our people. And you kind of find your people in that crowd, but it is pretty wild we had early days. Our daughter was in like a private pre-K program. And there was like a school that you could transition into, and we did because we thought we had to. We put her in this weird private school. We really didn't know the culture of it at all. And and she came home one day and she was like, my friend says she's a billionaire, and we were like, what? And she was like 6 years old, and she was like, what is that? And I was like, I don't think these are our people.
Not our people.
All. And so we did actually leave the school because we were like, this doesn't feel like all these people are doing things that we can't find a single parent who we have anything in common with or could even have a remote conversation with. And they would never even bother talking to us. So they're not extracted. At all. Yeah, we extracted ourselves from that world.
Well, that brings up a good point. I think a good question maybe for you, Sam. Without going into detail, your life has changed a lot over the pandemic. More than, I wouldn't say more than most, but people know more about how your life has changed over the past few years. How is it going as an adult, successful woman with a family and you're doing your career? How's it going with friends for you?
With
friends? Like with having friends?
With having friends. Oh, you mean like for having friends in this moment?
Yeah.
How are friendships? Like our friends.
Yeah.
It's going well. I love my friends. I do love my friends. We just traveled with our friends. We went on a little trip. It's been fun. It's been good. I feel like nobody goes out anymore. And also I don't go out. Is that what you mean? Like what? Tell me everything. What are you thinking?
It's interesting that you're bringing it up, Casey. I am curious if you and your husband, Jason, who've been together for so long, are both artists, performers, actors, writers. And I'm curious if you guys have the same friends that you've had like forever. If you have made new friends, new parent friends, or new friends through work, people ask us this all the time, Sam. This is like a question on like via our podcast about making friends as an adult, right?
Friends as an adult. Making friends as an adult is hard. It is really hard. You have to be very intentional about it. That's what one of my just very best friends, it literally like years ago, I mean, I've known her for like 20 years now. We literally did something together and it was so brief. Like we just kind of worked on something together. She was writing an article. And at the end of the conversation that we had, I literally was like, I think I like you more than just this lunch. Like, I like you. Is it real that you like me? Because I feel like you do. So should we just be friends outside of this? And it was like, It was just a super intentional conversation. And she was like, I was going to ask you if you wanted to be friends. And I was like, well, then I think that just makes us friends. So now let's figure out like what do you do?
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go?
What
We
kind
had
of friends
fun.
are we?
What kind of friends are we? Like, what can we be? And,
Right.
But it takes a lot of like, well, I'm sure in your position too, like you're famous. People are like, it's hard to always know if it's like real. Are you friend?
Right.
And I don't know.
I
It's
also
hard.
find, and like with friends of mine who are famous and
Mhm.
definitely more famous than me, and I have friends who've been famous much longer than I have been famous. So I
Mhm.
saw it from different perspectives.
Right.
Like, you know, a lot of times people end up surrounding themselves with people who are on their payroll.
Yes. Yes.
And they're their best friends, but it's like that to me is very complicated and
very complicated.
maybe
That's-
not the best person to decide as your bestie, you know, just because their
Yes.
livelihood depends on you. And so like the power dynamic, that's not really.
The power dynamic is very important, and like it can feel, and I don't know. I definitely, because I definitely had a big workplace of lots of people, and I was very friendly with most of the people at work. And so sometimes the lines do get a little blurry, and you're like,
For
wait
sure.
a second, hold on. No, I mean, like we're friendly. Are we friends?
Yes.
Like, let me get fired from my job, and then I'll figure that out.
Right. And it's hard because you're all there together because you love the same things. Like ostensibly you're there because you love it. And so automatically you just have not just time and location together in common, but like the shared love of this thing.
Yep.
When I worked for David Letterman on, I can't remember the name of the project that we worked on together. But what he expressed one time in like a candid moment, sorry, Dave, that I'm telling your business. He expressed to me that sometimes he got a little freaked out, like wondering whether the friendships were real or if they were, you know, just as you're saying. And I, in my 22-year-old wisdom, was like, oh, you know what you should do? Every once in a while, you should just say something, like say some crazy shit. And whoever goes along with it isn't your real friend, and whoever is like, Dave, that's crazy, is your real friend. So then a couple of times he did say crazy things in conversation with people to, I think mostly just to make me laugh, but it was fun. It was interesting to see who would be like, oh, that is a good idea. I think you absolutely should shave and bleach your hair stubble. That would be a great move. I think that's edgy.
I think you would look really handsome. I think you would really pull it off because you're very naturally handsome and gorgeous. I love you. Please keep paying me to be here.
Please
let me
do not fire me over this.
Please don't fire me.
Oh
please.
my gosh. Which is like also you get why someone would go along with it. Like it's a powerful person, you know?
Of course. Of course. Is that the origin story for like all the crazy that's probably the origin story for a lot of rumors out there.
Probably. Who knows?
That's funny.
Have you ever had a rumor about you that you were like thought was so funny? It was so wild that it was funny to you?
I don't think I ever had one. There were definitely like stories that weren't true that I just was like, oh, I'll just leave it because I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like sometimes if I'm sure, you know, there's stories that go around about you that just they're not based in reality. They're just completely false, but you can't really address them unless you want to explode them and give them like tremendous legitimacy. And that drives me crazy, like having to practice restraint like that. Oh, you know what? One was funny. Oh, there's one that was funny.
What?
Oh my God. It was like, you know how New York real estate is just public knowledge. Everybody's like, here's your address. That's where you live. Like, great. And we were so like years and years ago when I went to work for an unnamed show that I can't talk about, I got paid very little, like such a shockingly low amount of money that was not really livable in any way. And I went into debt working there. But we scraped, like we sold our house in Canada, like we like put like small amounts of money and we tucked it away and we bought a 1-bedroom apartment. We already had, to be clear, we already had 2 children. But we're like, we can do it. We can cram into this. Like ownership meant so much to us. These values, we were like, we're gonna just like park it in a little apartment. This will be our nest egg and this is our future. And so we bought a 1-bedroom apartment in like a pretty new building and it was cute. It was too small for 4 people. I mean, already like right out the gate, too small. And some real estate blog got wind of it and they were like, Samantha Bee purchases 1-bedroom apartment ostensibly for her nanny or her help because she has 2 children. It's not large enough for her to live. So it was like a rumor that we bought an apartment for
help
staff.
Yeah, for your staff.
we were like, it was so funny to us because we were like, our children sleep in a literal drawer. Like one of them sleeps on top of the bed with us because she's a baby. She sleeps in between us. And the other one, we have like a little drawer underneath the bed that we pull out for our other child. And that's our, I'm like, this staff is terrible. They're not helping us with anything. They just make a mess. They're useless.
That is hilarious. That's always, that kind of goes to the strike, right? Like a lot of the comments that we're seeing are people that think that if you have ever worked in anything in entertainment, you've got it made, you're a millionaire. Yeah. And so
that no one should get paid anymore.
That no one should get paid.
That works like in entertainment. No one should be paid anymore.
Because you can all afford apartments for your staff.
For your staff.
I mean, I think that's super frustrating. That very common misconception that because you're on a television show now, was a big deal job. It was a big deal job.
It was a big deal job, but it's like a lot of us are just in the, like, obviously things change, but like you can be a real journeyman. And I worry so much like in this strike and the new world of television that it's so hard to be like a journeyman performer, like to be someone who like drops into a project, you do like a couple of episodes, like you kind of can't make a living
at all.
No.
Right.
Just
I said to my friend Alan, who's like a starting out actor, kind of like that, comedian. And I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know how. I mean, he does a lot of different things, though. He like sells clothes and mushroom chocolates.
You kind of have to. You kind of have to have to have a bunch of side hustles.
That's right.
And just
also feels like, what are we doing? Any of us? When you look at like what a Bob Iger makes or any of these white old dudes with jets.
You mean all the people like cruising around the Mediterranean on giant yachts right now? Like,
oh my God.
Joyfully canceling projects. Just like joyfully clearing the slate. Sorry, that's so mean.
I did the math actually because I saw like the top 12 executives and what they've made over the past 5 years. And I crunched the numbers for like a joke, not a tweet. What's a thread now? What are we? Threads? Right. I don't know. But I was saying if all of those positions had been filled with women, Hollywood would have saved like $550 million over the past 5 years.
That's true. Guys, I've told this story before. I will tell it again. When Birdie was a baby, I gave her so many gummy vitamins on the way to preschool that then when I took her to the dentist, she had over 10 cavities. Over 10 cavities, guys, is a traumatic experience for a preschooler. But that's because typical children's vitamins are basically just candy in disguise. It's all sugar. There's unhealthy chemicals. There's gummy junk that kids should never eat. And that is why Haya was created, because these pediatrician approved superpower chewable vitamins fills the most common gaps in children's diets to provide the full body nourishment that kids need, a yummy taste they love. But while most children's chewable vitamins are filled with at least 5 grams of sugar and can contribute to a variety of health issues like those cavities, Haya is made with 0 sugar, 0 gummy junk, and it tastes great. It's perfect for picky eaters. If my kids will take them, I'm telling you, yours will too. It was formulated with the help of nutritional experts, pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and vegetables, and then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals, including vitamins D, B12, zinc, folate, and many others to help support immunity and energy and brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more. It's non-GMO. It's vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free. And it's actually designed for kids of all ages. So guess what? You can take it too. And it's sent straight to your door. So you have one less thing to worry about. Guys, my kids love it. They especially love the little reusable bottle that they decorated with stickers. So they each have their own. Anyway, I really encourage you to try it. And we've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you got to go to hayahealth.com/busy. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to hayahealth.com/busy and get your kids the full body nourishment that they need to grow into healthy adults. Helix, Helix, Helix. We love you, Helix. Guys, you've heard us talk about Helix Sleep, the mattresses that Casey and I are obsessed with. Helix showed up in our lives a few short years ago, and boy, oh boy, do we love these mattresses. Here's what I'm going to say to you. Having trouble sleeping? Maybe it's not just like the worries of the day. Maybe it's not the wine that you drank tonight. Maybe it's that it's time for a new mattress. Helix will change your life. It really, really will. Because I think a lot of times people don't realize that their mattress is not supporting them the way that they need to be supported. And Helix is here for you, because the Helix lineup of mattresses is 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe collection and the newly released Helix Elite collection, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers. Also, they have mattresses for kids, FYI. And here's the deal. How are you going to know which one you want, which Helix mattress is right for you? Well, you're going to take a little quiz. You take the Helix Sleep Quiz, and then they match you with the perfect mattress for you in under 2 minutes. The mattress is shipped straight to your door. And because Helix is a professional mattress company that is very good at what they do, they know that the best way to test out a new mattress is by sleeping on it. And that's why they offer a 100-night trial and a 10 to 15-year warranty to try out your new Helix mattress, because everyone's unique. Everyone sleeps differently. That's why Helix has all these different mattress models to choose from for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. And I'm telling you, Casey and I do not have the same Helix mattress, and we both love ours so intensely. Plus, Helix has been awarded the #1 mattress pick by GQ and Wired magazine, and I always take Wired magazine's advice on everything. It's even recommended by multiple leading chiropractors and doctors of sleep medicine as a go-to solution for improving your sleep. It really did work for me. Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows just for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/best. This is their best offer yet. It's not going to last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now.
I'm going to take a sip of my drink. I'll take a sip.
Please do.
Yep,
What are you
I'll take
drinking?
a refresher.
Some Topo Chico?
I have a Topo Chico.
Aww,
My
a little taste
beverage.
of Los Angeles.
My beverage of choice. The most effervescent of all of the liquids.
I like it to be painful a little.
I do too. I like it to feel like a full scrape. Like just like exfoliant in my throat.
It's good.
Sometimes
It keeps
people are
your
like-
throat very young.
It does. It's so fresh inside. Everyone's like, do you want a San Pellegrino? I'm like, that's not going to do the trick.
No.
Double up the bubbles, please.
Double the bubbles. That would be
Triple.
a good seltzer brand. That could be your side hustle.
I would be very good at it. Double the
Canadians
bubble.
are really good with bubbly beverages, I feel like.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
I
do you
never-
remember Clearly Canadian? That was bubbly, right?
Obviously.
Oh, clearly Canadian.
Yes.
I do remember the pop shop.
Oh,
Well,
I
we
don't
would
know
make
about
our- Oh, the pop shop is where, when I was growing up, like in the 70s, everybody would just go like bottle their own pop at the pop shop.
That sounds
like
so
a-
fun.
It was like a warehouse that only had, it never, like the cola was disgusting. Like there's really not, you couldn't do the cola, but it was like cream soda, orange soda, like
That sounds
a kind of like a Sprite-like soda. It was just all the sweetest, like cotton candy sodas. And you would just go, it was like a chore. Like it'd be like, we're going to the beer store. We got to go to the pop shop. We got to go get groceries. Like it's like your Saturday chore was going to get enough soda for your family to exist on for the week. Like, I don't think we have enough
That's
soda.
Amazing.
I don't think we have enough breakfast soda.
That sounds horrifying, but also fun and so of a time, you know?
Oh, so of a time. Jason's dad had his own, like in the 70s, his own carbonation kit at home because he was like, I'm not spending all that money at the pop shop. That's pricey. I'm going to do it at home in the garage. And he would like make his own Coca-Cola in the garage. And it was, according to Jason, just a toxic fucking sludge that like was not in any way something a human could drink. Doesn't, not hydrating.
It doesn't
In the
sound great.
least.
I
Not
gotta be honest.
Just a thick brown sludge by Larry Jones.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like DIY cola. Here's the thing. I'm just never sure what's in cola. Like, and sometimes I'll read like a little bit of information and I'm like, if there's nutmeg in there, I'm allergic to nutmeg. So automatically I'm out. But I also feel like the ingredients of cola and A1 sauce are mysterious and horrifying.
Oh, yeah. Like one of the ingredients is just brown.
Yeah.
Just
I think it
brown.
might be.
Anything
Truly.
that has raisins and anchovies in it is not
That's right.
like
What has raisins and anchovies?
A1 sauce. And I
I've
feel
never
like
been, we were
A1's
never an A1 family. My parents,
A1
my dad
has a
hated it.
similar flavor profile to like DIY cola. I feel like it's
It does.
I think DIY cola probably has raisins and anchovies.
Probably
in
if you just like try to, if you carbonate A1, that's Larry Jones's homemade garage soda.
Garage cola. Oh my god. Well, I'm
Put
gonna
a
make
straw
some
in
for
it.
I'm gonna make some for Jason for
Oh.
old time's sake.
He will love it.
I have a Soda Stream and like
And some A1.
a Smart and Final size bottle of A1.
Oh, perfect.
Wait, Sam, so we can talk about your podcast.
Yes,
That's
can.
exciting.
It is exciting. And I like, it feels like a good time. It feels like a good time to have a podcast. Aren't we all
Jump into the waters.
so clever? I love it. Like, thank you. I mean, I used to have one at this show that formerly existed that I won't talk about. And I loved it. I love it. I like feel so comfortable here. I love to just, I don't know, I love to talk and I'm curious about people. It's the same. So choice
the
words
same.
is that. It's like, let's just talk to each other. I don't know. Let's just talk. I love it. I love it.
I think it's
How
so
long-
great because, you know, all of the shows that we're not talking about,
Yeah.
one thing that I think people might not know is that it's just such a limited amount of time. And
It
the way
is.
that you're expected to move through a show, I always see it on even like the morning the morning shows frustrate me so much because the way they move through, like if you're cooking something, I want to see you cook it. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And that's how I feel about everything that happens on television. If you're bothering to do something, I want to see you do it. And so what I think is beautiful about this podcast and your podcast is that like we're letting it cook a little bit, you know?
Letting it cook. It's like it's frustrating to like you leave so much on the floor and you end up like having all these lost moments that you're like, oh, I wish that people knew that this person had this going on in their life. I wish that we all had a chance to hear this. So I don't know. That's why it was in very, like, I know you talk about pivots a lot, but like pivoting away from something that has existed for a long time is it's really tricky. It's like emotionally tricky and it's there's a lot to it. And there's like a lot of ego involved and it's like a very crazy experience. But the only thing that I actually knew that for sure I wanted to do was do a podcast because I enjoy it so thoroughly, like genuinely would do it even if no one ever listened to it, I think. That wouldn't be as good for the guest because the guest wouldn't want to come on if nobody at all listened to it. It's
well, in
better,
our experience, most guests do the podcast and then don't give it another thought. Like all
right. Most of our guests, like they come on, they never talk about the fact that they were on it. They're not like they're just like, okay, see you later. That's why sometimes I'm just like, Casey's like, we don't have someone for this week. I could reach out. I was like, let's just not have a guest this week. I mean, Sam, you're different because we're friends and I like you so much. I think I can phrase a question this way. Were you surprised at the ending of your one job that just ended?
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised, but I was shocked. Does that make sense? It was like,
totally fair.
It's like alarming. So that's more not really shocking.
That was like me when the Dobbs decision came down. I was like definitely prepared, like knew it was about to happen, and then was unbelievably floored by how shocked and upset I was.
100%. It's like it is not this at all, but I'm going to use this as an analogy that makes no sense. But like, you know that scene in Terms of Endearment where it's just my favorite movie. Deborah Winger dies, and then Shirley MacLaine is like, I knew it was happening, but it's different. It's different.
Yes.
It is different. It doesn't. Anyways, so it was like that. It was like,
no, grief. Oh my God. Wait. I think that's actually, I just want to say, I think that's actually a very great metaphor to use or comparison, just because grief is grief.
Right.
And like the loss of a thing is the loss of a thing. And it's not that, it is shocking. You can prepare yourself a million different ways, and then the end is never what you think it is.
Yeah, you can't predict the way it's actually gonna hit you, or the many different ways that you're gonna feel about it changing every 5 minutes,
Every 5 minutes for so long. Like, I like to read books about grief. I am actually very personally interested in it I don't know why, but I think it is it's like a very rich terrain because we all have experienced it or will experience it. It's just such a human thing. And so like, it was really topsy-turvy. Like it was fine. It was fine because I expected it, but it hit me in weird ways. And I think it still is in a way. Like, and I'm really happy now. It's been a long time. It's been a while. I've moved on doing other projects, like working on the podcast is like incredibly fulfilling. And I'm doing like a live show, incredibly fulfilling. All of it's very fulfilling.
You did do a live show. How did you love it, or how did you feel
loved
about it?
I'm going to do it more. I'm going to do it some more because I love it. I love doing it. I feel very like I never have done that particular, certainly performed a lot, but I've never like taken a show from city to city and like done the same show every time. That I've never done. And I find it thoroughly fulfilling. Like,
wait, so your show is like written Your live show is like written out
Yeah.
in the same show every place you go.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I love doing, I feel like it's some kind of psychological problem that I'm having, I'm sure. But like, I feel like I feel like suddenly, you know what I mean? It's like when walking onto stage, and we can talk about stage things, but like,
Yeah, of course.
like walking onto a stage and like, I feel very 3-dimensional in that way. Like, I'm like, I'm in myself.
Yes.
It's like
Oh, that's
fully in
interesting.
myself. I feel like I can feel my front, I can feel my back, I can feel both sides. It's
Yeah.
very like, it's exhilarating in
And
a
you
way.
have an awareness. Have you taken the show
Awareness.
to Boston yet?
Yeah, it's so fun. I did. It's so fun.
You got it. You got
I
out
know
of there.
what
okay?
I know what Casey's about to say.
Oh
we
no!
did
Oh God!
I'm from Massachusetts, and we did a little mini tour, and Boston was like a life-changing and harrowing experience.
What happened in Boston?
It was
What
just
happened in
alcohol. It was just a lot of alcohol.
Okay.
But we
Like
had
for
our friend,
our audience.
yeah,
from
the
the-
audience. It was the
audience.
The audience was so drunk. And I actually was really drunk. Yeah, I got really
we had
drunk too at a
also we
certain
were
point.
overserved as well, but we like kept it under control, I feel like. But like our friend Lou Barlow, who's like he's in the band Dinosaur Jr. and Folk Implosion and Sebado, he came out to perform a song, and he was
Yeah.
like, I was shook. Like like he's
Oh my
traveled the
God.
world and had like
in rock bands.
and he was just like, I
We
did
didn't
not
he like opened for Foo Fighters in like stadium shows. Like
And
he's
he was
like,
like,
and he was like, this was a lot. It was a lot, guys.
I'm going to
We're
have to
dealing with a lot.
process this. I'm going to take a little time off. I need to take a little time off from performing. What was going on in the audience? Were people just screaming?
like out of control screaming, but like weird supportive screaming, which was
Yeah.
great.
Really supportive screaming.
Like
Okay.
you know, never doubt yourself. You should never doubt yourself. And now I'm gonna like fling a drink at you.
What?
Yeah.
A very pregnant
Casey,
woman.
you're so pretty. It was like
At one
really-
point, a very pregnant woman came up behind another woman that we later found out she didn't know at all,
No.
and pinned her arms to her sides and like did the whisper to her, like, you have to stop what you're doing. You have to stop doing.
Wow.
And
It
at a
was
certain
wild.
point, I thought that this one person had like thrown up on stage, but
Okay.
it was just her beverage that
She just thrown her
she
beverage
had
onto
thrown
the stage.
onto the. It was
Wow.
an excitement.
truly.
But you didn't have okay.
Hilarious.
So this is
Well, someone did pass out at one of my.
Oh,
someone did-
really?
Someone did pass out. We had
From
to call.
excitement or from
No, I think from she had a medical issue. It was
Oh.
in Philadelphia. It was so
That's
very
so
scary.
scary.
You had to stop. Did you have to stop your show? I had to stop our show.
We didn't. We just disassociated and powered
You're like,
through it.
Yeah.
we can't hear each other. We'll just we'll scream louder so we can hear each other.
I just started drinking more. And I was like, well, you can't beat him. You're going to join him.
Oh no,
That's
I
it.
feel so bad. I passed out at the rally where Hillary Clinton clinched the Democratic Party
Passed
nomination.
out?
Yeah.
You passed out at what happened? Did you just faint? You just fainted?
Yeah, it was like the crush of people
crush.
in there. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I passed out, and then they just got me to a place where I wouldn't be trampled. And then, the rest is history, as they say.
And now you have a beautiful story to tell.
Wait, I want to go back to the stage show because I'm curious.
Mhm.
What is it? How would you describe it?
I would describe it as well. I mean, I have like official descriptions of it, but it really is a lot about like if I'm just riffing, truly it is
Yeah.
about like how much we don't know about women's bodies and nobody gives a shit. And that's
Yeah.
why we get to fucking menopause and go, what is happening to my body right now?
But so Sam, you like wrote a one-woman show.
It's a one-woman show. It's a one-woman
but
show.
it's not like. But I'm just trying to differentiate because so many people, I feel like, in our genre, whatever it is that we like, go do live versions of their podcasts or
Right.
live shows that are like sort of scripted, sort of not scripted, or they do characters and then
Right.
like You know what I mean? Or they have guests and they interview people. But this sounds like a proper one woman show.
I think that the genesis of it, like, as we're talking like pivots and one thing ending, and what I like was like, okay, part of that is I like really took some time to go, well, what is it that what is left for me to say? Like, I don't really want to, I don't feel the need, like, personally to just like speak all the time, actually. Like, I'm like, I'm good. I said like a lot. I want to talk about the things that I want to talk about now, talk to the people that I want to talk about, like talk to. So like what stone do I feel is like left unturned in my heart? Like what is there left but to speak what I think is the truth about this thing that I care a lot about. And I just think that I care a lot about the fact that we don't give enough time or care to the story of a woman's fucking body. Nobody studies it. There's no education, no research. Like, and so that's what I'm doing. And then after that, I'm like, oh, I fucking don't know. But I'm glad to like be planting a stake in something that I think is really important. And it's actually fucking pretty wild. I think it's actually really, I'm proud of it. I love doing it. I feel completely cleansed after I do every performance of it. I'm like,
I want to see, I can't wait to see it.
I'm
so thrilled. I didn't know that this is, I like didn't have any, I'm learning something.
I'm going to hook you up. I'm going to hook you both up.
I can't wait to see it. Now, are you thinking that you should maybe do a little run on Broadway, or what are we thinking?
We're not even thinking anything like that. No, because
I'm there for you.
I appreciate that you're there. Thank you for being there.
I'd like to come on as a producer. No, I'm kidding.
Perfect. You're on. It's like I'm honestly, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm doing it because I want to do it and love doing it. And I don't have to, there doesn't have to be a big like future for. Of course, I would want anything great to happen for it because I love it. Yeah. But I just love it as it is. And to be honest with you, and I'm sure that you both know exactly what I'm talking about, I'm not taking any more notes in life.
There's no notes.
Yes.
There's
no fucking notes. Nobody's would stand up if I wouldn't unplug everything.
Me. Yeah, like
guys,
I don't
putting it on a t-shirt. We're not taking any more. No more notes. No more
notes. I don't want to hear people's opinions about the things that I do anymore.
Or how at all. It's not gonna resonate.
Yeah.
People don't care about or whatever.
Or like I'm not sure people will get this.
I'm not sure people. I don't think people.
If one more man ever tells me, I'm not sure people will get this, and I'm like, obviously you don't get it.
Yeah,
it's not for you.
It's enough. It's not for you.
It's not for you. Like, I don't want to take your fun suggestions for what to change. I'm like, no, I think I feel totally fine talking about the fact that my period as a 53-year-old woman is a fucking blood river that a ship could sail down. Like that. I don't care.
You guys, I have to tell you a thing that I've never like said on this podcast, but Casey, I think it's time. I was dating this guy after my husband and I broke up. And I remember like I had my period and I use a Diva cup, which I'm very vocal about. But he like walked into the bathroom when I was like emptying it out. And he was like, whoa, that's crazy. What are you doing? What is, and I was like, this is, I told you, like, this is how I don't use tampons. I use this thing. And he was like, it's just, and he paused and he was like, so bright red.
And I was like, it was blue.
And I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah. By the way, it just occurred to me that he had maybe only ever seen like old tampons or pads.
Oh, right. When they're,
like where the ones like dried.
Yes.
When a dog takes them out of the trash and puts them in the living room.
When you're having a cocktail party.
Let me tell you something about my dog Gina that just for the first time happened.
Oh.
is we in Los Angeles, the trash cans in the bathrooms didn't have lids. I had lots of people over. There were lots of girls in our house all the time. And all of a sudden, when she pooped out that tampon, guys,
she ate a whole tampon.
She ate it. Did the string hang out, or she?
No, it all came out.
It all came out.
Good for her.
Good for her.
The other thing that's funny, which I did tell on the podcast, was when I was having a really tough time several months ago. Well, I mean, always, but and I went for my first wardrobe fitting for a show that we can't talk about. And I was like, let me just pee real fast and I'll be right in. And as I was peeing, looked down at my underwear and just the entire crotch was eaten out by, like, gone. Like, it was just empty. The dog had
eaten.
But they were clean in my underwear drawer. I was so, like, I put them on, didn't notice that, like, my bush was just touching my jeans. Went to then a wardrobe fitting where you have to be in your underwear in front of people. And I was like, oh my God, this is literally horrifying. Like, also that someone put those underwear back, folded them up and put them back. And anyway, it was a mess. I asked, thankfully, wardrobe departments have a surplus of underwear on hand.
So funny. Just hanging like in flaps, like a garter belt with nothing.
It was like crotchless underwear.
Gina
you
had
had like
done, it was crotchless underwear.
Crotchless underwear.
Gina had essentially eaten, I wear those hanky-panky lace thongs with the cotton gusset.
Gusset.
Is that what it's called?
The least sexy name for something touching your vagina.
Gusset.
Totally. Gusset. Of course it has the worst name because it's touching your vagina. Anyway, so your labia?
Your labia.
Anyway, Gina had done a really beautiful surgical precision job of just a hole that was like most of the cotton gusset and then like a lot of the lace right above.
Fantastic.
But the sides remained. So I pulled them on, obviously, didn't even think anything of it. And then it wasn't until I was sitting, I took a picture of them and I sent them to one of my best friends because I might have sent it to you too, Casey. Did I ever send it to you?
I don't think I saw that photo.
Maybe I'll post it.
Maybe
Maybe I'll post it this week.
It'll wind up on Instagram.
I think it might.
My God,
but Samantha, what's your show? What is the title of the show? The live show.
The live show is Your Favorite Woman. And the podcast
it.
is Choice Words. So I'm really leaning into a theme.
And the podcast is kind of about like choices that people have made in life, right?
Yeah, it is. Because I know you guys talk about this too, but it's like, I'm fascinated by like those little ripples in your life, like those that like pebble that drops that changes the trajectory of like everything. It can be a big thing. It can also be a tiny thing, but it can be the most meaningful. And only when you reflect on it, like 20 years hence, do you go, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't go down that path.
Oh, the sliding doors of
Right.
my life are wild.
I'm sure.
Right.
I bet.
Truly.
Well, Sam, in thinking about you, and I'll try to say this, but I'm not asking you to say anything, thinking about you and what a fan I am of yours and how now I want to be friends who go to lunch and talk about menopause because I didn't know shit about it until it was too late. Till it was irreversible. It's not
Turns out
it's irreversible.
Always.
But in thinking about you and thinking about how I've related to you, the thing that we can't talk about that was most recent, the thing before that, the way that ended for you and led to the most recent thing that we can't talk about radicalized me. It was like one of the first dominoes of me being like, this is all bullshit.
Yeah, let's burn it the fuck down.
My God.
It really
Are you serious?
Yeah, it really did because I think like I had an understanding of the inequality that existed, and I think I was just accepting like I'm working on all these things where I'm like an accessory to it, but it's not really for me. And like, I'm never going to be the leader of this. And I'm never, and that's just like, I'm just lucky to be here, like as a woman, because they just started letting us in. And then the way that thing ended, and like, I'm sure people that made decisions, people that I know and respect, whatever, had whatever reasons that they would say. But for me, that was such a disappointment that it really radicalized me. And I was just like, yeah, burn it all down. As Busy said, like,
listen, I'm a big advocate of burning it all down. Fucking burn it to the ground. It is. I'm so there. I thank you for saying that. I'm like, I feel as you do. I'm like, I would love to. There would be there's nothing like the feeling. I will say, like, I don't fucking know, like, what shape life is going to take or anything like that, but there is nothing sweeter to me than to not be beholden to someone else. I've never felt better about that. Mm-hmm. Never had the chance.
Right.
It's so meaningful. And I love, I love it. I love to burn things to the ground. I could do a real number. I got a lot of shit to say.
Me too. And I have to say, like, for me, that whole situation too, Casey, you and I don't know if we've ever actually talked about this.
I don't know that we have.
But it filled me with such we didn't know each other at the time because our thing didn't happen for several years into the future.
Right.
But I was so rageful about that. And then there was another thing where a person had stopped doing a show and then they found another person to do the show that was just like all the other people that do the shows. And that 1-2 punch for me was so infuriating that when all of the stuff happened with my Instagram, which I can talk about, like getting all of this attention for my Instagram and my Instagram stories. And people were like, what do you want to do? And like, let's do a sitcom. You should do a sitcom. And Eric Gurian and Tina Fey were like, we need to figure out what you want to do with this. The only thing I could think was, if I have this second to do anything, I want to do the fucking thing that no one of our gender is allowed to do. Right. That's it. I just want to do that thing because it's so fucking unfair that it exists. I mean, and of course,
right,
we really went through it. But yeah, I was like, really,
this business.
It was really hard. It was really hard for me. It was really hard for me. Your situation was really hard for us.
I feel like there's got to be like a project that is like I don't know. I'm always like, maybe I should do a podcast and just fucking burn it to the ground because I'll never work in it again. I probably never work in it again, and I don't care. I don't want to. Like if like it's not. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe what I'm saying, but there's a part of me that's like, oh, let's torch it.
Well, I do a little bit, and then wildly still managed to somehow get hired thanks to Tina Fey. So what I'm saying is that you just have to have Tina say like, I know, guys, I know she said all that stuff about you, but
even Tina has huge disappointments that I think are like
true.
Fueled by not the, it's not the quality of like what she's proposing sometimes when she gets to know. I think she has definitely felt the same disappointments. But Sam, you've shared a few pivots with us, what we could talk about anyway. But I'm so glad that you're doing the podcast because I just like hearing that you're not beholden to anyone. That makes my heart happy. And I like that it is making you joyful rather than feeling like you're settling for something, because that's how I feel about this podcast too.
Yeah. I think initially I felt like we were settling for something. And then ultimately
It's
have
actually
come to understand the power and the value of it.
It is powerful. It's like when I hear you talking, I feel like, well, I think that the shared experience is that people feel like they're listening to their friend. Like you feel like you're in a conversation. You feel like you're in the conversation too, which is actually like, I know you're not here to talk about the magic of your own podcast, but I'm talking about it because like you feel like you're in you feel like you're talking in the conversation. You feel like you're in your mind, you're part of you're like, I totally agree. Like I said, this dude in the car, I'm like, I'm there. I'm in this.
But I also think like we talk about loneliness a lot, you know, and I think that is a thing that we all are trying to figure out, how to be a little less lonely, you know, and hearing people that we like and know talk to other people that we like and know about their lives is, I don't know. It's like a, you know.
Yeah. And it's like, even though I'm a guest on your show, I love it when you don't have guests. And so don't erase me. I'm not saying that you
no.
should erase me from it.
We would never. But I'm saying
I'm so
embrace
excited.
You have our phone number. So if you're ever listening and you feel like you want to join the conversation,
oh my God,
you have our number and you
call in.
Because I'm so happy I just feel like you feel the same way about so many things that we do. And I'm so happy that we have your wonderful podcast talking about these really important things, and sometimes things that aren't so important. They're more ephemeral, but it's just like on your own terms. I'm so thrilled to be able to see you doing what you want to do on your own terms. Finally.
Look at us.
Look at us doing it. But you know what? I truly cannot wait to see your favorite woman.
Oh, I'll keep you very informed. You will enjoy. It's very.
I'm so excited.
Oh my God. I feel like my dad has not seen it yet, and his heart is going to stop.
Oh.
That's okay, Dad.
Dad,
it's okay.
put on
just
earmuffs.
Cover those ears.
Dad.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's fine.
It's all right.
Well, also, you know, you can tell him beforehand.
Yes, I did. I have. He sent his friends. He was like, my friends are going to go and see you in North Carolina. I was like, are you sure? I was like, it's a lot of, I'm talking about my own vagina. Like, it's like a lot for your friends who live down the street from you, who you socialize with.
Yeah.
Are you sure? He was like, they're adults. And they were adults. So people will surprise you. I was like,
People do
that's
surprise
right.
you.
People do surprise you.
They've been around.
And you know who doesn't surprise me, though? You. Because you're as fucking wonderful and delightful as I have always hoped you would be IRL. I'm serious.
I say the same back to the both of you. If you think that I'm not going to use your phone number to call in,
please
you're
do.
wrong.
I know it's in there. I know it's in your phone.
It is.
Sam, we should let you go.
Yes,
because
we have to let you go.
You have.
I don't want to. But I'm going to.
Full life.
I actually also, though, for real, Casey, will you, or Sam or somebody, will you give my phone number to you? Because I have school questions about New York that I need to ask you on a podcast.
Great. I have no air conditioning in my apartment right now, and I'm just sitting here sweating my absolute balls off. Let's talk all about it on a different level.
I'm in I flew to South Carolina yesterday, and New York was so hot yesterday.
Hot under my cardboard box.
That is
so hot under there.
Wait, do you still have the cardboard box?
Yeah, I kept it because I'm going to put my recyclables in it.
Will you take a little
multipurpose
picture of it and send it to us so we can just see like the nature
100%.
of the box?
I want to see.
I'm going to do it right away.
I want to see that box.
Yep.
I want to see that box, and then I want to see you talk about your box.
I will talk about my box later.
On your favorite woman.
It's a is awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so
Samantha Bee
much.
has
Thanks,
a
Samantha Bee.
podcast called Choice Words. You should check out her website so you can see upcoming dates for her one-woman show, Your Favorite Woman, and
Follow her on social media.
follow her on
The
social
socials.
media.
Sure.
All the things.
But don't ask
not?
for her picture if you see her with a box on her head in the rain.
You won't recognize me.
You would you know what the secret about that? You don't even see her. You don't even see her.
You just see a walking box.
Yeah. It's an enigma. All right. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You
Thank
too.
you, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
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 Element, element, element. We love you, element. That's a new song. I'm just trying it out. I'm workshopping it. I'm by myself. So I'm like trying something out. But you know how I feel about electrolytes, guys. You know how I feel about electrolytes. Whether it's a couple glasses of wine, you know I'm guilty of that. Or working out, you know I've been doing a lot of that. Or just an active lifestyle, you know I'm doing that. Or hitting those picket lines, you know I'm doing that. It's hot out. It's record-breaking heat out. You are sweating. Your kids are sweating. Your partners are sweating. And you need to replenish those electrolytes, guys. Listen to me. Electrolytes are responsible for so many functions in your body. The conduction of nerve impulses, hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, fluid balance. When you sweat, the primary electrolyte lost is sodium. Okay. And when sodium is not replaced, it's common to experience all kinds of symptoms. An element is there for you, and it can help prevent and eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. Element is used by everyone from the NBA, NFL, NHL, Olympic athletes, Navy SEALs, to just, me doing my leg lifts, guys, in the heat outside. And Casey, who's just like, I'm running some errands. It's hot AF out here. I'm sweating, replenishing my electrolytes. Right now, Element is offering our listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element order. It's a great way. You can try all flavors, or you can share Element with a salty friend. Get yours at drinklmnt.com/best. This deal is only available through our link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/best. drinkelement.com/best. Try it totally risk-free. If you don't like it, you can just give it away. Share it with a friend. And Element will give you your money back. No questions asked. You have nothing to lose. And only your electrolytes to gain. Ooh, Sundays, Sundays. I sent my little puppy to camp with her Sundays. Listen, here's the great news about Sundays. It's healthy dog food. It's actually easy to store and serve and send with your little pup to camp. When they're going away to camp, to sleepaway camp. Sundays is air-dried dog food made from a very short list of human-grade ingredients. Sundays was co-founded by Dr. Tori, a veterinarian, and contains 90% meat, 10% vegetables, 0% synthetic nutrients. And besides the USDA beef and all-natural chicken, you're going to find digestive aids, which Gina always needs, because those golden doodles, they've got the stomachs like an actress in LA. You know what I mean? And so they add things like pumpkin and ginger. Plus, there's disease-fighting antioxidants. And I do have to say, her breath has been delicious. I mean, delicious. It smells good. Her breath smells good. She doesn't have bad breath, is all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And her fur is so soft. And she's just the cutest. And she loves to eat her Sunday's dog food. She really does. She looks forward to it. And here's the deal. A lot of fresh dog food is inconvenient because it's messy. It's frozen. You have to defrost it. You have to remember. But Sundays is zero prep, zero mess. zero stress. It's shelf stable. It makes it very easy to feed your baby pup top quality food. And every order ships straight to your door. So you really never have to worry about running out of dog food ever again. Plus, Sundays costs 40% less than other healthy dog food brands because Sundays doesn't waste money on shipping frozen packages, heavy frozen packages. They spend their money on what matters, sourcing the best all natural ingredients for your baby dog. We worked out a very special deal for our dog loving listeners. Get 35% off your first order at sundaysfordogs.com/busy, or you can use code busy at the checkout. Upgrade your pup to Sundays and feel good about the food that you feed your dog. And we're back. I just love her.
Me too.
She's really great. She's already texted me. I want you guys to know. So,
Oh, that's very exciting.
it is exciting. I'm drinking some tea. I'm drinking some sweet tea. Everyone,
The Southern.
I'm resetting with some sweet tea.
Oh my gosh. Sweet tea they're not lying when they say
They're
it's
not
sweet.
lying. By the way, I want to tell you something. This is unsweet tea, and it is so sweet. I asked for unsweet. I'm not kidding. And it isn't sweet tea. It is just the sweetest unsweetened tea I've ever had in my life.
So it's
Good
sweet.
for them.
It's sweet tea.
It's sweet. It's sweet tea that they're saying is not sweet because it's not as sweet as someone who wants sweet tea would want it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that sweet tea in the South is really the only thing that comes close to describing like how sweet it is to me is how everyone in Canada, in my experience, drinks their coffee. Like, man, they are real sugar bears up there. They love them some sugar.
They really do. They love it in their coffee.
Yeah.
With full fat cream.
Sugar and it's actually this thing where when we would order coffee in Canada, we'd be like, can we just have cream only, no sugar? And they would describe to us at every drive-through place, oh, we put base in it. And we were like, what is base? Like what, like something called base. And they were like, it's just like, it's sugar and cream it was like basically, the mixture, I feel like, that you put into a soft serve ice cream machine.
We should have asked Samantha Bee about this.
We should have.
Native Canadian Samantha Bee.
She would know. She
would know about base.
But yeah, if you're listening and you know about the Canadian substance called base that they put into iced coffee and hot coffee, please let me know what's in it. I feel like it's not just sugar and cream. I feel like it has like some custard element, some eggs maybe.
No. Although who knows? Guys,
I don't know.
Nothing would surprise me anymore.
Who knows?
Well, so it's official. The strike has happened. Things are happening. Look, guys, I don't want to spend any more time. I mean, I don't want to inundate people with talking about this strike.
Yeah.
If it's not something that people are interested in. But I know a lot of you have reached out and said, how can I best support? Well, first of all, neither union is calling for a boycott at this moment.
Right.
A boycott of television and film. Although I will say something. I'm going to say this, and this is just my opinion. I think it was very interesting that the AMPTP,
that's right.
had to get it. AMPTP extended the negotiations with SAG, and that so much huge press and premieres were able to be done for summer blockbusters in those 2.5 weeks, really crammed in worldwide press tours for some huge movies.
Yes.
And then lo and behold, no deal, not even, and like so far apart, and didn't seem like they were in good faith at all, because they just started saying the nastiest, grossest things, the producers and the producer side.
Yeah.
I find that to be upsetting to me.
Yeah.
And not at all the fault of anyone involved in any of the big movies that were put on those huge tours. That is contractually obligated work that you do to promote a film, not to mention the fact that, like, fucking go Greta Gerwig. I love Greta. I've known Greta forever. I'm so happy that she probably after this coming weekend will have like the single largest opening of any female director of all time, like ever, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the movie, I don't even understand what the movie, I don't care. I'm going to go see it. Thrilled.
Yeah.
Howevs.
Interesting.
Howevs. I do think it's interesting because I think that they, like, look, I don't know.
It was interesting timing that they
It's not interesting timing. It's like it was done on purpose, and like everybody knows it.
Everybody
and it
knows.
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks because they've continually taken advantage of artists in all the ways, and they continue to take advantage of artists, and it fucking sucks. It sucks because as artists, you're put in these impossible positions of, on the one hand, wanting to do the work, wanting to work, wanting the work to work so that you can continue to work. And on the other hand, there are things here. I'm so glad that that messaging is getting out there, that people fully understand that in order to even qualify for SAG health insurance, you need to make $26,000 a year, which used to be, because of the way that residuals were structured, possible for a lot of people who worked a lot earlier in their careers, and then maybe not as much as they aged, but they were able to hold on to health insurance because they were able to meet that minimum because the residuals were so strong. And the way that the residuals were structured for cable was a deal that was made a long time ago. Is that the 80s? Or when was that? I don't remember when that deal was made, guys. I'm not like a fucking SAG archivist, like historian or whatever.
Right.
But I'm just saying that the residual deals for cable, for how they sell TV shows and movies, first run sell, second run sell. You know, it's a percentage of what you initially were paid for the job. And then it goes down the more times that
the more
it
they
sells.
play it. Right.
Yeah. But you still get that percentage, right? But once streamers came along, well, the streamers are the studios that own the projects. So in their minds, they're not selling it to anyone.
Right.
This is their justification. It's not their minds. They know what they're doing is wrong.
Right.
But their justification is that it's our property. We own it already. We're not selling it to anyone. So you don't get anything from it. And if you want more information, or you want to like look into how truly out of balance the pay scales are in entertainment, that Orange is the New Black article was really great.
Oh, right. Yes.
And really illustrated how Netflix, someone said they messed up by letting the creators of Orange is the New Black know how many people were watching that show and how impactful it was for their network and their shareholders.
Right.
I also saw that thing that Sean Gunn said. I posted on my Instagram, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot of great information out there. And I just want to thank everyone who is listening who has reached out and asked, like, what can we do to support? And so, as Busy said, there have been no specific calls for boycotts of anything. And I know that seems sort of counterintuitive because you'd want to like vote with your dollars, basically. But I think what people are saying is why they haven't called for boycotts is because actors and writers want to demonstrate that these things are financially very solid, like that entertainment makes a lot of money. And so it makes sense to cut actors and writers in to some of the money. And so then if we called for a boycott and people gave up all their streaming subscriptions, then suddenly the streamers could point to a dip in their revenue and say, see, we can't afford it. We can't afford to pay these people. So they're asking people to just maintain their normal habits so that it doesn't cause like any kind of reactionary or artificial dip in revenue, which again, I know it seems counterintuitive because why do you want to keep paying people that you think are bad people? But yeah, so there's that. But also, like, really appreciated what Sean Gunn said. I feel like it's the same answer we've been giving people. Like, if you love a performer and you want to help support them because you know they're not like Nicole Kidman, she'll probably be okay. She'll be able to weather this fine. But there's lots of performers who, are gonna struggle. And so if you have a favorite performer that you know is like a working performer or working writer who's out of work now, a lot of people like going on 3 months now, if they have a podcast, listen to the podcast and share it and review it and download it and patronize the advertisers of the podcast if you can. If they have a Substack or some other newsletter, subscribe to that Substack and share it and, review it, comment, keep it active. There's a little deal that's been made with Cameo, the service where people can make videos. You can book videos, personalized videos. And so actors who are on Cameo or performers who are on Cameo are allowed to still do Cameo. So maybe like send a video to someone or to yourself, whatever. Those are ways. Buy their books. What else is there? How else?
Well, there are also some like motion picture fund type things, charities, but that are also raising money for IATSE and Teamsters to keep their healthcare going. I donated some things to a couple auctions for supporting crew members.
Yeah.
Also, like if you live in a place, Atlanta, New York, Los Angeles, and you need help for something, consider putting the word out that if any crew member is like looking for, like, for instance, when I moved into the new apartment, knowing that productions were basically on hold,
right,
I reached out to the PAs from a television show that shall not be named that I have worked with and asked if they wanted to come help me unpack, set things up, like, and I can pay them for a few days of work because I want to help the people that I love, like that I've worked with. And it actually, that brings up a good point because maybe I'll do, I tend to go off Cameo, but maybe I'll go back on Cameo to donate the funds to motion picture workers.
Yeah. There's also a really cool auction that's happening. It's like WGA and the GA are the first two letters in garage sale. So it's like W garage sale.
Well, that's what I donated pottery to, guys.
Oh, great.
You want a fucking pig pot? Get your ass over there.
Yeah, there's tons of good stuff. There was actually I think the Friends, maybe People's Choice Award or whatever is up for auction. So, and lots of cool memorabilia people are donating.
Pot, you know what I mean?
Or a pig pot.
I'm just saying, or a pig pot.
Or a pig pot. Yeah, lots of cool things. So you can check that out. And just thanks to everyone for being concerned about it. Because I know there's also a lot of sentiment out there, which we were talking about earlier, which is oh, you're crying about how you don't have enough money. And it's There are a
Look.
lot of people that just literally think everyone in entertainment is rich.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, I want to say, like, Mark and I are a 2-income entertainment household, more or less, even though we're not married. I mean, we're getting divorced, but still, we have children
Still a
together.
household, yeah.
It's still a household. We still have kids together, whatever. And in the scheme of things, like, I'm still able to do this podcast. I still have revenue stream. He does not at all. But
Right.
like, thankfully, I'm able to do this podcast. We're able to get support that way. I am able to do a couple commercial jobs. Oh, I just liked, if you see a performer that you like doing any paid Instagram post, guys, I'm just going to say it to you right now, even if you
Like it.
disagree with the people doing it. I mean, okay, maybe not Shein, okay, but I'm just saying anything else, if it's anything else, just like it and comment, because it means stuff to the advertisers. And to be honest with you, like, I don't know, I've worked with a lot of ad agencies and a lot of brands, and I have found them to be in many ways a lot fairer with their payment distribution of revenue share and acknowledgement of the value of the talent than I have with these huge conglomerates, corporations that have taken over studios. I mean, a TV show that I used to love, that our friend Tina Fey wrote and starred in, always had that joke about like the NBC Universal microwave, you know what I mean? Like the conglomerate, how it was all just like continually being bought by bigger and bigger corporations.
Right.
I mean, that is like a little bit what we're all up against in this moment, right? Like that's, and I thought that there was a really interesting, like very succinctly put thing on Instagram that I posted. Alex Sachs posted it. The story here is simple. Tech companies destroying an industry by devaluing the product in the name of growth and then realizing their business model doesn't actually work. It happened with Spotify. Instead of 99 cents a song, it's $12 for unlimited music. Oh, wait, that means that no artist can make money on records anymore. We've seen what it's done to the music industry and to smaller, struggling, starting out musicians.
Right.
2, Uber. Hey, let's make taxi rides for anyone at any time for $15. 10 years later, suddenly your Uber costs $90 because it turns out it's expensive to have an on-demand chauffeur. You know, and that was a big thing because the taxi drivers and the Uber drivers fought for better conditions, better pay.
Right.
Did the Uber drivers unionize?
I don't think so.
I mean, taxi drivers are unionized, aren't
Taxis
they? Yeah.
are union. Yes. Well, that was
part of the
thing,
issue,
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then you had no protection, and people were like, I mean, this is what was happening. DoorDash and Uber Eats, same story. Let's destroy the bottom line of restaurants and have VC money subsidize drivers in the name of growth. When it comes time to pay the actual cost required for on-demand food delivery, it will be unaffordable.
Right.
That's coming. And with the streamers, the tech companies and the streamers, let's spend billions of dollars on TV shows and then package them for $9 a month, destroying movie theaters and the movie rental market in the meantime. And our profits will be derived in the short term by the fact that since it's streaming, we never have to pay residuals to actors or writers. The actors and writers are right to strike. If you want to devalue and destroy an industry, it's no longer a sustainable business model.
So, yeah, just tons of good points being made. It seems like the unions, both unions are still pretty far apart. I was reading like what the AMPTP said no to with, I knew what they said no to with respect to the writers, but with respect to the actors, like making sure they had meal breaks was just a flat rejected. So, those are basic issues. So anyway, just thanks to everyone for being concerned and for realizing that, well, here's the thing. As Busy was just saying, it's not just entertainment. Like entertainment, I think is important. Some people might think it's frivolous. I think it's important to how we live and how we source joy to be able to live in this world that we live in. So it's been important to me and meaningful to me, and it's been a meaningful career to me. But this isn't just an entertainment strike. It's actually like a labor movement. It's the birth of a labor movement because, as Busy was just saying, like every pillar of our economy is kind of set squarely on the backs of people that are doing this work. And then there's people up at the tippity top of the pillars just claiming billions and billions and billions of dollars. And they're just, they have a getaway car ready to go for when it all collapses, when they finally crush the people underneath the pillar, and they'll escape with their billions and billions and billions of dollars. They'll live to destroy another industry.
Well, they will if we don't stop them.
If we don't stop them. So, that's what this is about. So it's the same thing that's happening to teachers in their schools.
Oh
and
my God,
it's
beyond,
the same thing.
yes.
And anything that's, except for maybe like police, there's no, nobody's getting rich off of police unions. I don't know. Who knows? But mostly anything that's like people are making an attempt to be unionized, it's to protect themselves against like just corporatization, which we've talked about a million times about how it just ruins fucking everything.
It really
and because
does.
of greed. Like I firmly believe that it's possible to live in a society where corporations don't have to be evil. It's just that they have to settle for sharing the great wealth that they generate with the people that actually help them generate that great wealth. So, that's why I dig like a Costco where I know the CEO draws a small salary and like there's a huge amount of satisfaction.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that people who work at Costco. I don't know if that's still the case, but when I joined Costco, that was the reason. So yeah, there are corporations out there that are doing it better than other. The salary of the CEO of Costco is $1.2 million per year.
I mean, that's not,
it's not nothing. But
I'm saying it in terms of when you hear what a CEO makes, it's like,
right.
Well, that was that thing that I thought was so interesting that Sean Gunn said, and I did, but it was like in 1980, the heads of corporations made 30 times what their least paid employee made. And
right.
now they make 400 times or more.
Right.
Which
it's
is
insane.
Insane. Like, how do you even justify? Like, what are you doing that is worth it? Is it worth it?
Right. Like you can only work like 40, 60, maybe 80 hours a week. What are you doing that is, even if you were working 80 hours full out, doing everything that was humanly within your human capabilities, what would you be doing that would make it worth that amount of money?
Yeah. I mean, I can't possibly imagine.
It's unfathomable because it's not possible. Here's what I want to say about Costco. I just looked up this article. Jim Senegal is the co-founder and now retired CEO of American membership-based big box retailer Costco. Despite building one of the largest retail chains in America, Senegal consistently earned less than the average salary of CEOs and has called it wrong to have massive disparities between employee and executive pay, according to Business Insider. I believe that guy earned a $350,000 salary during his tenure at Costco, which was far less than the industry's average average of $1 million for Fortune 100 CEOs at the time. Now, obviously, it's a different CEO. He's earning a lot more. But also, how fucking sad is it when we're like $1.2 million? That's not crazy for a CEO. That seems, you know.
I don't think it seems crazy for a CEO.
It's not. It's not crazy when you see the millions upon millions reaching almost into billions after like 5 years that some CEOs are earning. And entertainment CEOs, it's wild. I mean, you all know this. We're not telling you anything you don't know about how insane this is.
No, the distribution of wealth in this country is fucking obscene. The amount of money that like changes hands for shady business is obscene. The amount of money that is being exchanged for political gains is obscene. And it's going to just continue to happen unless people decide that they're not going to fucking show up and be a part of it anymore. A system that does not benefit them. And like I said, I'm in a very privileged position. But I see my friends. I mean, we had Liz Jenkins on here. What was that? 8 months ago?
Right. Talking about how she wasn't making her. And this is
health
like a
insurance
who's
from having a baby because she had because there was a pandemic and she had a baby.
And so she wasn't going to have insurance, not just for herself, also for the baby.
And you
that
shouldn't,
she had.
Listen, and people are like, well, she could do anything. She could go work another job. Sure. That's easy for you to say. Like, you know what I mean? But then what are you going to be left with? There are going to be no artists. There are going to be.
And also, like, stop saying that. Stop telling people they could move to another state. Stop telling people they could do something, like, because this is where we are here now. And obviously people started out where they were with the best of intentions and like expecting it to go a certain way. And the game has changed.
By the way,
you know,
I fully recognize that, like, I am also a beneficiary of an old system that truly I don't know if I'd be able to hack it now. Well, I mean, I'm a hustler, so I would be a little bit like my friend Alan. Like, I'd be like, you know, selling drugs out the window or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's incredibly daunting to be trying to enter this industry, but like literally anything right now because of the way that the power structures have been established and the way that these people are like digging their heels in.
Yeah. And that's why this is
oh my God,
a labor movement.
Wait. What did I read that like resonated so deeply? They're trying to make it a culture war and really this is a class war.
Right.
So like all of these people, like all the people who are like, the values of Hollywood, I don't give a fuck about. Like, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, not the people from Hollywood, the billionaires that we're trying to like, wait, am I making any sense? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they don't, you're sticking up for a billionaire's right to fuck over someone that works in entertainment.
Because
that billionaire does not give a fuck about you.
Right, because culturally you're far apart on your views about religion or abortion or whatever the fuck. Like, dudes, they don't care about you at all. They never will. Like, you don't even exist to them. They will let you die. They will.
Right.
That's what always was like, but that was always like, that's always like the most interesting thing to me about Trump, right? But like the fact that this thing has worked for so many people that they've convinced that the people that really hold the power and the money have convinced so much of America that this is a culture war as they just line their pockets with more, and politicians and these billionaires, heads of corporations and big bad corporations, as they like line their pockets, destroy our earth, make it uninhabitable, take jobs away left and right from people in all forms of industry, But they're like, but be
it's
on the
interesting-
lookout for their bad values.
It's interesting the way they've done it, right? Because like there practically is no middle class anymore.
No.
So what they've done is, as they're stripping away the middle class, and the middle class like objects to it, and that used to be like what we all aspired to be. We used to have a middle class. As they're stripping away the middle class and the middle class objects to it, they're like, look at these privileged assholes.
Right.
They think everyone deserves to go to college. They think everyone deserves health care. And they're like complaining because their very good job, which is better than the job that a lot of people have.
Yeah, which is better than the job you have.
Better than the job you have because they think they're better than you. Now they're complaining because it's being taken away. And like,
they're a bunch of crybabies.
Right. And I can understand how you could get kind of whipped up into that discussion.
That's such a good point,
believe
Casey.
me, these people are not, they don't care about you, and they will suck an industry dry and then move on to another industry that will eventually affect you in some way. I'd like to think that this will affect people. Like, it's not life or death. Like, if there's no like dramas and sitcoms, no one's going to die. Maybe people would read more. I don't know. But what happens when they move on to, the hospital in your town, the power plant in your town?
Well, it's already happened. That's all happening simultaneously.
Just
FYI.
happening.
But this is the thing that like, I do think also, like if they're, just fucking, man. Guys, we're preaching to the choir here. But all I'm saying is that like we all need to get on the same fucking page. And the best way that all of us can support all of the labor movements is by supporting the labor movements, by supporting striking teachers, by supporting striking UPS drivers, by supporting Amazon workers who are unionizing, by supporting Starbucks workers who are unionizing, by supporting unions, because unions protect people and protect working people and help make things possible in this runaway capitalist world that we're living in, country that we're in, help make things possible like life, like living your life, like fair wages, fair living wages, healthcare, guaranteed dental care, guaranteed time off, paid time off, guaranteed, maternal and paternity leave. Because if our government is not meeting, they're not going, I'm just going to say, like, they're obviously not able to figure it the fuck out. They're at like a real stalemate. We're at an impasse. The checks and balances have been thrown to the wind.
And, maybe this is like a little bit of information that people didn't know before. Like these unions that we're in, they protect us as much as they can, but they don't guarantee shit. No. They don't guarantee us employment. They don't guarantee that we're going to reach a minimum threshold of employment to get healthcare. So we're not like fucking living on easy street, I don't have a writing job for a year. I don't have insurance through my union. That's just how it works. And
just
same
how it works
with actors. So that's why actors are like scrambling to make their minimums, and only 13%, I believe, of actors in the Screen Actors Guild make their yearly $26,000 minimum threshold to get healthcare for that year only.
I remember one year I qualified only from residuals from Dawson's Creek. Okay. So like, and some other things that I had done. But just so you understand the importance of the residual conversation and how devastating the streaming corporation's decision to take away residuals from actors and writers has been for so many people. Like, I've seen some people putting their residual like checks up for like 3 cents, 10 cents for shows that they were like, get like big parts on. not
Right.
not like extras, like real. They were on the show, and they're getting.
Yeah.
I haven't actually looked at my residual statements. I should look. I know
I
that
bet
sounds
they're
that sound guys. That sounds very snotty, but I just
Which they just go right in. You don't.
they
you
just
don't
go right
look
on
at them.
into that bank account. Guys.
Yeah.
And I rarely like check my residual statements because at this point, though, by the way,
They're not worth anything.
They're not worth it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was when I was pregnant. It was that year I was pregnant. That
Yeah.
was why I was able to keep my health insurance, because with Birdie, my first year that I was pregnant and I wasn't
Yeah.
working, and I wrote about it in my book, and I was having like a really hard time financially. And that like my residual checks, I'm going to like actually cry right now. And then my residual checks came into SAG, and I got the email, and it was like, it literally saved my life because it saved my health insurance. I could pay off my credit cards. I could pay my fucking house, like my mortgage. And yes, like Mark and I were together at the time. It was the writer's strike of 2007, 2008. So he had no money coming in.
Right.
So it was like, if I didn't have that residual payment for a job I had done, for jobs I had done many years in the past, I would have lost my health insurance.
Right. And that's another thing I want to point out. Like, by the way, under the best circumstances, the jobs that, yes, we have chosen, but also like the jobs that I feel like were our calling and like what we were bound to do, like
Yes.
by destiny or fate or whatever. Under the best of circumstances, it has been that stressful. Wondering if you're going to get a job, wondering if the job is going to last or if you'll be downsized out of it because they slash budgets all the time, or wondering if a show will be canceled. And then like residuals, you can't even count on them because you don't even know where a show is airing and what the residual structure is. So those are always a surprise when they show up in the mail. And when they show up and they're great and they save your life, that's amazing. When they never show up because they're bad, or they show up and they're 2 cents or 7 cents, and you're, how many millions of times have I gotten an envelope in my life that I'm like, oh my God, this could either be $1,000 or it could be 1 cent. You know what I mean? And so you just don't know, and you can't count on it. It's not reliable.
But
even during the best of times, that's the stress that everyone who's out there on the picket lines right now, that's what they've been living under, except for the very few at the tippity tip top that are like the 10% most successful people. Everybody else is just fighting it out in the streets and in meetings every day, trying to make a go of this fucking career. And it's that hard. And now it's that much harder because you hear like, not only is it this wild roller coaster with no guarantees, there are people that are actively trying to fuck you and grind you down and take
don't care.
everything from you. And they
make
don't
statements
care.
like, we can just make this go until people lose their homes and their apartments.
Right.
That's fucking evil. If you don't read a statement like that and think, oh, we're at like a real crossroads in this country.
Right.
Shit. If you don't think that, I don't know. We're not friends. Then we're not friends. That's the bottom line. Then we're not friends. You're not you're no friend of mine.
What are you doing your best at this week?
I mean, Casey, what am I doing my best at this week? Certainly not travel. Certainly not getting from point A to point B without a hiccup or 3.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm doing my best at. Just reframing and just moving forward and deciding that we're going to kintsugi the whole fucking thing. Just all of it. Just my knees and my pottery and my life. And didn't even talk about the dead animal /S, plural, that are crawled into the walls in the basement and died, Or the fact that in our month absence, there was possibly, I don't know, whatever happened, the litter box wasn't properly sort of cleaned out.
Okay.
And the cats revolted by turning Birdie's bedroom into a litter box.
Oh,
which I
God.
spent most of the weekend rectifying myself, cleaning. So my
Wow.
weekend last weekend was an actual shit show. And a cat piss show. My weekend was filled with so many bad smells and so many unfortunate circumstances. And yet, yesterday, I was like, even after it all, I was like, it's a new moon. We're going to just move forward. It's just, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep showing up.
Yeah.
Even though I was slightly limping, I was like, I'm going to go to that picket line even though I was by myself, which
Yeah.
I fucking hate going to places by myself.
But you did it.
I did it. I did it.
Oh my gosh.
So I did it. So I
You
just
did it.
kept, so that's what I'm doing my best at just continuing to just do it. What are you doing your best at?
I really have been trying to spend some time trying to help my friends who are out of work right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to use my network to find small jobs for people here and there that they're allowed to do. It's something that I have taken a great deal of pride in it throughout my entire career. I have always been the person
You're
that people...
a connector. You're a connector for sure. Girl.
I've always been the person that someone reaches out to, I need an assistant. I'm looking for a writer for this. And so right now, those jobs aren't the kind of jobs that people are able to do. But I am trying to put it out there. If you have something that you could hire one of these folks for, it would be really helpful, especially my friends with families and kids. And, just I'm trying to do my best and use the connections that I have to help keep a couple people afloat if I can.
You've always done that, though. I just want to say, no matter the circumstances, I've always known you to be that person.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'm just trying to do that because I'm so lucky and you have done the same for me a million times, but I don't want people to just, I don't want people to lay their heads down on their pillows and just be fucking terrified during this time about what tomorrow is going to bring, because there's been a lot of tomorrows since this started and people are trying to hang in there and it's hard. So if there's anything I can do to take one worry off of someone's head or heart, that's what I want to do. So that's what I guess I'm doing my best at this week.
I think you're killing it.
Thank you. I think you're killing it too.
Well, thank you.
And I'm not just talking about pig pots.
I know. I knew that was coming. I was waiting for the punchline.
All right,
I think
guys.
That we're done, guys, but we love you so much.
We love you, and we'll talk to you next
soon.
week. And, just keep rooting for everyone, and thanks for all the support. And hopefully we'll get back to a point where we can talk about what we're trying to talk about without talking around it.
Yes, exactly.
Bye. Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, no.